for me, running seems like something I always have to work harder at. Like
Oh.
there's something about there's some people that are like natural born runners and like literally can like run their paces and like and do really really well. But I think for some reason for me, like I always have to work 10 times harder to get to that next segment. So I definitely feel like for me consistency is huge.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 136 of the On the Runs podcast. Everybody is getting ready to go do a turkey trot this week before we all stuff our mouths with turkey stuffing and our stomachs with beer. We all have something to be very thankful for this week. For me, it's that my kick-ass rock star of a co-host is back from the dead. I'm super excited. 6-star Erika, what's up?
I'm alive. Oh, just barely, I swear, but it is good to be back. I was down and out for a solid, it was 2 weeks. It was like 2 full weeks. Insane, right?
Yeah,
Ooh.
you were sick for a couple of days, and I
was out.
I forgot one thing on the intro, but when I go 6-star Erika, what's up? Yeah,
I missed that. It's a nice, welcoming sound, but I gotta give it up to you and Pterodactyl for holding down the fort while I was very ill, just very ill. Guys, get your flu shots. If I have anything to say, get your flu shots.
No, I'm against that because the only times I've ever gotten a flu shot, I actually got really sick. So
Really? Oh, this is the one time I didn't get one yet, and holy shit, it took me out.
I say that this is the year that I got sick like 4 times though in the last 12 months. So
maybe it'll be good for a while. I hope so, but there's some stuff going around, and I hope nobody gets it because it's gnarly.
Yeah, you got sick like the day after the marathon. We recorded and you were like, I'm not feeling so well. And then the next day you really got sick.
Dude, I had a fever for 10 days. Like, I was just so out of it. I have not been that sick in years. So here's hoping that's it for the year. But I'm glad it waited until all of my running was pretty much done. And it took me out.
It could have waited a few more weeks. Like it could have done that for me.
But
like
hey.
Maybe when you go away and don't miss podcasting time, we had to cancel or postpone a total of 3 recordings, 2 guest interviews, and then
the Tros.
Sarah jumped in on the Tros.
I couldn't do it. There was a time, like even now, I'm a little short of breath. When we had those recordings, I was like, I can't breathe. I can't get 2 words out without gasping for air. And I was coughing up a storm. It would have been a shit show. So
guys, we had like a big one too.
Mm-hmm,
like we're taking work off on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. to record. What would you call it? A goat or a white whale? Is it white whale status? I don't think it's white whale status, but it's definitely Erika's.
She's pretty epic. Oh, yes. Yeah. She's
so
a role model.
We had to postpone. So happy. You made me postpone on her an hour before the recording. I was like, I
woke up that morning and I was like, I can't do it. And I think mostly me panicking didn't help. I was like, oh my God, I can't breathe. And you were going to call me. I'm like, I can't even talk on the phone. It was bad, dude. It was bad. You know me, I wouldn't have done it otherwise, but there was just no way.
Well, that's actually why you skipped out on the Tros and why Tara filled in. You were like, I need to save myself for tomorrow morning when we have on the podcast.
Right.
And I was like, good. How you feeling Monday night? You're like, I feel okay. Tomorrow's going to go well. And then just all of a sudden Tuesday, I can't do it, man. So
I had such a bad night's sleep and I just could not breathe. It was awful, you guys. It was so bad.
Well, I'm glad you're better. Just
Me
in
too.
Time for the last episode of the year. Did you know that this is the last, we're going to call it quotation marks, real episode of the year?
I mean, man, I can't believe we're already towards the end of the year. This year has flown by, especially the last couple of weeks. I can't believe Thanksgiving is coming up this week.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And you're going to be tomorrow, when everyone's listening, you're going to be on an airplane going down to Myrtle Beach.
You know it. Yep. I finally get to visit my parents again. I get to show Brandon the Myrtle Beach area. And then my sister and Lucas are coming down. It's going to be a family affair.
Where's my invite, Donald? I've been putting the videos on YouTube and I don't get an invite. Oh,
Next time.
geez.
Next time. We have a full house, actually. But yeah, you know that's an open invitation to stay at their house.
Good. I'm glad. But I'll be down there one day when we do like a Myrtle Beach marathon or something.
Right?
Are you going to do a turkey trot? Have you found like a turkey trot to do?
You know, there is one. I actually did look. It all depends on if I can get somebody to drive me there and if anybody else wants to join me. Like, it's no fun to just do it by yourself, but I don't know. We'll see.
I hear ya.
If not, I'll just run around my parents' neighborhood.
I think I'm doing the Manchester one with Adeline.
Oh, fun. Ooh, that's the one that Tara's doing too, right? Is she bringing her dogs?
Ooh, I don't know.
Hmm.
That would be cool.
There you go. But
That'd be
that's cool. You can do that with Adeline.
Yeah, we'll be slow. We'll walk and walk
Yeah.
around, but
Do you guys have any other Thanksgiving plans?
not really. It always stinks. So, like, just multiple families getting pulled and dragged. I think we're doing Thanksgiving at my parents' on Wednesday night just because my sister's in town, because she wants to go see Mike's family too, or really Mike wants to see his family, and then Ashley's family is just so huge and they always take priority. And I'm like, what about my family? You're like, come
Right.
on. So yeah, I think we're gonna do something Wednesday night, and then I could run the race Thursday morning with Adeline and not have to worry about like timing or anything. I actually think we're keeping it really low key. I actually think
Nice.
Ashley's family is not even coming over. Like, knock on wood. That's awesome.
You know, the low-key Thanksgivings are really nice. Like, there's no pressure. You don't even have to put real pants on. Like, that's the best kind of Thanksgiving.
Well, there's been pressure like for Adeline not to get sick, and it's just like insane because they're going to Florida in a couple days for nationals.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they're gone for a week. I am by myself all week with the boys. Boys week, yeah! We're gonna have a good time.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I feel like I was not welcome to go to the nationals only because
You didn't get the invite there?
Yeah. Well, the real reason is they're all driving down and carpooling and splitting gas.
Oh.
So, like,
Oh, man.
there's no room for me and the boys. But you know,
Probably for the best. A road trip with a bunch of excited girls. Oh, boy. Your eardrums are going to
although
explode.
It looks like we're going to globals. It just never stops. It just never.
That's
freaking
crazy.
ends. And that's in New Jersey in like February. It's like, when are we going to go skiing? The mountains are opening soon. I want to go skiing with the kids. So,
I got to squeeze it in somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, something cool I mentioned. Donald loves to watch the YouTube videos, and I've been getting those up. If all goes as planned, fingers crossed, and you're listening to the podcast right now on Spotify, and you are not driving, and you just have the phone on or the computer or something, if all goes well, fingers crossed, there'll be a video of us right now, the entire episode on the Spotify app.
I dressed up for you guys. I totally didn't.
I just did my hair too, so. We're trying things. That's the goal for next year. I want every episode to have full episodes on video. I'm undecided on YouTube if it's the full episode or just the guest segment and the intro separate, or maybe both. That's a lot of work. But then we have this new mixer here that I bought, and it's perfect for in-person recordings. And it's also really cool because I can do things like this that Erika loves and gets all horny about.
I do love that button. So. Get a horny for the air horn. Oh, don't. Nah.
But we've done a couple recordings. You'll actually hear it with Sammy's episode. Sammy's our guest today. We'll get to that soon. But we've done a couple of this so far virtually, and there's so many settings I'm figuring out. And sometimes there's a weird echo. Sometimes there's some audio distorted when we talk over each other. Maybe we just need to not talk over each other. But that happens because we're natural and we're amateurs and we're just people and human. But hopefully this episode's on the video portions up on Spotify. That would be so cool.
That will be really cool. We'll see.
And then you know what you guys should do? We've always asked, we don't always ask, but sometimes we say, hey, please give a 5-star rating or please give us a review. And it's all like Apple driven. Spotify's really jumped up their game. They're becoming the place to be. Their numbers have gone up like 80%. Apple is slowly declining, or we should just call them, what do we call it?
Fruit,
what do we call it? The fruit. Like Fruit podcast is slowly declining. I think they're going to rise back up to the occasion and just become bigger and better once someone surpasses them, because that's what Fruit does, or they try to. But yeah, on Spotify, there's a new feature now. You can leave comments.
No way.
Yeah, so you can give 5-star ratings, which we encourage and we love and appreciate. But you couldn't leave like reviews before, but now you can leave comments in the episode. Like you can be like, "Yo, Erika should have taken another week off. Her voice sucks." Or why is Eric so freaking fugly looking on this video? Like, turn his camera off. Turn his camera off.
Those aren't the comments we're looking for. But hey, I mean, if you got to do it, you got to do it. But
Well, you could leave some awesome reviews in the comments. Like I'm thinking
How
people would
cool.
use them for reviews. That's really cool. So I'm excited
Yeah.
for that. So many fun, exciting things happening with us, with Monday Night Media, Ali G show that is rolling. Some other news I'll talk about in the outro, but I started to edit someone else's podcast, or at least I did one episode. It was like a trial. Do I like it? Do they like me doing it? How does it go? We'll see. A lot of exciting things.
You've got your work cut out for you, man. You're gonna be a busy dude.
I do. And I got my phone is buzzing. The president of the hockey association here for referees is calling me. He's like, "Why haven't you registered yet? You haven't taken your test. Your test's like a week overdue." And I was honest. I said, "I don't have the time. You guys know I don't plan on doing more than like games over the Christmas break. I'm not doing playoffs. I can't get enough games in to do it." And they're like, "Well, just sign up and just," I'm like, so yeah, I am busy and I love it. Busy is better than
Sleep is overrated. Like you said, you sleep when you're dead.
It's not that. It's busy is better than twiddling my fingers.
I don't think I've ever known you to twiddle your fingers. Between podcast stuff and your children, you are busy.
Well, even before podcasting and children, right? Not busy, but just always on the go.
You've always got something going on.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love being busy. But yeah, you missed a great episode last week. So much 777 content.
I was so bummed to not be able to chime in because I was glued to those live streams too. Man, Ben did such a good job with those.
So I said earlier, this is our last real episode. We do have plans to record with some people in the month of December, and we're trying to squeeze some in from the 777. We're going to maybe get like many
crossed.
recordings. So if we drop anything outside of best ofs and classics in December, we might do like a week dedicated to the 777. We're also probably going to get, it's in the calendar, but a Christmas special episode.
Ooh, I love Christmas. Christmas specials are my favorite.
So remember, that's at your house. We planned it at your house with the future host of the Recrap.
We get along so well. That's going to be our quote unquote Christmas party.
It is. Well, and we talked about that too. We're going to have a Christmas party, like hopefully next year, Monday Night Media Christmas party.
That would be so fun.
I know. I got big dreams.
Well, I'm right there with you, man.
You know, we have to get to our guests real soon, but we actually have to shout out somebody.
Yes, we do.
They're freaking amazing. Holy shit. Did you see what Jared Ewing did at the JFK 50?
This kid, not even a kid, total badass. I do not understand how he ran the JFK 50 in what, like 7 hours? Was it less than 7 hours?
It was like an 8:27 pace.
My mind is absolutely blown. That is a very difficult race. Not to mention it's 50 fucking miles. And he just goes and blows it out of the water.
And he stopped, sat down, talked to people, ate a banana, and then ran and finished with an 8:27 pace per mile. Holy freaking shit.
Jared, you are something else. We are so incredibly proud of you. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You are an absolute badass. So
Yes, he is.
badass.
Yes, he is. You know who else we're really proud of?
John and Denise.
Yeah, you're right. They did the JFK 50K.
Yep.
Congrats, but not where I was going. Who else are we really proud of?
We got to be talking about Miss Sammy Preventer, who is our next guest.
She's a freaking rock star.
Such a rock star.
With an amazing dog and just an amazing human, amazing person.
So
like,
sweet. Absolutely the sweetest person.
Yeah, you're going to learn so many cool things about her. Like, she's so level-headed. Is that even the right word? She just like, she knows how to like.
She's down to earth. She's
right.
She's in tune with herself. She's just amazing.
Yeah, she was great. We actually recorded with her just the other week, and this wasn't supposed to drop till next year. And then our guest who was supposed to be today, something happened with his audio track. So we're going to re-record. And it's like, well, Sammy, you're up next on deck because, like we said, it's our last real episode of the year. And she's super excited. And I think she's great to help us end the year because
Absolutely.
what a
Ending it
year.
on a high note, right?
Right. And we met her this year at the beginning of the year. I did all the mountain runs with her. We did Mount Washington. You met her at the NH10 miler.
Oh, yeah.
And after you hear from Sammy, stick around because Erika, do you have some news? Maybe a big announcement?
I got some news. You guys are going to want to hear it, so stick around.
Stick around, guys. I can't wait to break the news. But first, everyone, enjoy Sammi Sooliya on the On the Runs podcast. Our next guest on the pod is one of the hardest working people we've met this year. She's a woke girl who sees the good in everyone she meets. She brings the light and positive energy wherever she goes, and she's one badass runner with a dog. We are wicked excited to finally have her on the pod, Sammy Preventure, or as I like to call her, Sammi Sooliya. Welcome to the On the Runs podcast. What's up, Sammy?
Woo, what an intro. I love it.
That really was the perfect intro. It describes you perfectly. You and your beautiful smiling face, like seeing you out and about running. You're super speedy and always smiling, and I love it. And I'm so glad you're here, Sammy. So welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
You two just met at the New Hampshire 10 miler.
I think that was the first time we officially met, but I've been seeing you like here and there all over the place. But you really are. You brighten up every room you're in. So
oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, we just met at the 10 miler this year, and that race was it's always a tricky race, but yeah, it was great to connect with you and even record an episode and a bunch of
That's right.
That
was
so much
podcast before. I forgot. I did first time, like, oh my God, you've been on the pod before. But yeah, no, this has been what a cool year it's been. We got to meet. You've kind of became Erika is the person I run with the most. I mainly run alone. I think you're number 2.
Really?
Like, we did quite well. We ran up a bunch of mountains this year. We're crazy. Who likes to do that?
Thank you for stepping up on that because I was not about to.
I got you on that one, Erika. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then we did a dog with a dog. And then we did a run with Nala, your dog. And that was so cool because, like, oh man, the coolest dog ever. Everyone sees her and it's just like, she's what kind of dog is Nala? I know it, but I can't say it.
Yeah, she's an Alaskan Malamute. Mm-hmm. So it's part of the snow dog family. Looks exactly like a husky. But yeah, she definitely sets the pace anytime we go for runs. So it's a lot of times.
What's her mileage? Like, how much can she do with you?
So we used to do crazy miles. She's very much my marathon training buddy. So when she's going to be 8 this year. I don't take her on any runs any longer than like 10 miles anymore. But we used to do pretty crazy mileage when she was like 4 or 5. We used to run like 20 milers in the woods. Like she would just go. So yeah, she has great energy.
And for you, that's awesome. Having such a good running buddy. Yeah. And then you get to go home and cuddle. Like that's the best thing.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, if she does not get her exercise, she's insane at night. Like she is doing her zoomies. She's like bugging us every 2 seconds. It's wild. So we definitely need to get her
a real runner. It's like that's what happens when we don't get our runs. We're like, oh my God, I have all this energy. What do I do with it?
Yeah, seriously.
Sounds like my kids.
Maybe you should get your kids in the. Well, you already are.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Yes.
One funny story about Nala was when Sammy, when we were camping for the Mount Washington race, super early in the morning, it was Nala was out. I was with Nala, and I kind of leaned over and I just did it, let one loose, and I go, Nala, and Sammy pokes her head out of the tent, and she goes, "Was that really Nala?"
Nala sometimes is really human farts. So I was like, wait, was that really her? I'm so sorry. Like I was going to apologize for my dog before I realized it was Eric. So.
It was outside. I didn't know anyone was around. That was the thing. I was by myself. I didn't know you were like 10 feet away in the tent. I thought you went to the bathroom or something, or we're going for a run because you just run all the time. I see you running in the morning, in the day, you're working out at night. You're a badass. You're doing a lot of cool things. And we should get to that. Like, Eric always likes to say, "Hey, I want to hear your story, Sammy. What's
Yeah.
your story? Give us the details here on who Sammy is."
Yeah, I mean, as far as like, my running and kind of like my running journey, I feel like I've always been a runner in some way. It's funny because my dad will tell stories about how he used to bring me to gymnastics practice. And because I had like so much energy, he would bring me early before practice just to run laps in the gym before gymnastics started. And then it just kind of evolved into I started playing sports in school and things like that. And I grew up playing soccer. Soccer was always my sport, and it's funny because I played that, in the position that I played was outside mid, which is a lot of running, like a lot of running. And it's funny because when I went into high school and started running track, my track coach would always put me as a sprinter. And I was not a sprinter. Like, even though I played soccer, I was not. And it's always interesting, the dynamic of like understanding other sports before you kind of bring them into your own realm. And I think my passion has always been distance running. And I think if I did distance running and track, I think I would have excelled differently. And I actually kind of found my passion in college when I started running cross country. So I ran cross country at NHCI in Concord. And that's kind of where I fell in love. That was my passion for running. And the passion for running that I found there was through my two coaches that I had, Perry Seagroves and Tom Walton, who actually, he just passed away recently. But
Sorry.
basically, both of those coaches like really coached very passionately. And we actually didn't have a women's team for NHCI. We had one, there was like 5 of us, but we couldn't like string a full team together. So I used to only train with the boys. Like, they would be like, all right, Sammy, go and like run with like their, one of the groups that were not quite at the front and training kind of our faster male runners. They were like kind of, a little bit kind of middle of the pack. And I trained with some really, really great and talented male runners that were really passionate about having me become like a lead runner in like the women's cross country meets. So I learned a lot about smart running and things like that. Became super passionate about minding the gap in running and making sure you're staying behind the lead runner and like really like trailing off of them and things like that. And really, found my way as a runner through running cross country there. So, yeah. So really from there, I went on to running my first half marathon in 2010. And I ran half of the Hamptons. I don't know if you've ever run that race, but it kind of evolved into other races. And or other ownership kind of took over, I think, of that race.
Gotcha.
But that race was super cold. I ran it with my sister and my mom, and that was my mom's first half marathon, and which evolves into a lot more, which I'll tell you guys her story afterwards. But basically, we ran our first half marathon. I did not train at all for this. It was like, it literally was like no training, didn't even train with fuel. Like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna run my first half. And I was like grabbing water at every single stop. I grabbed the goo when I shouldn't have. And literally almost puked at the end of the race. It was awful. And then, and literally finished that race and was thinking to myself, I'm never going to run these races ever again. Like, this is awful. And then, and actually met a couple of runners afterwards, that I ran cross country against, in other meets, and they were signing up for other half marathons and other races coming up in the year. And I was like, you know what, if they're going to do it, maybe I'll do it. So I got kind of coerced into running more races, and it was kind of like history from there. So,
all right.
Yeah.
How much time was it in between you doing your cross country stuff in college to your first half marathon?
So I want to say I graduated in 2012. So I was kind of running cross country, and I ran my first race kind of right around the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say like within that same kind of time frame.
Perfect.
But yeah, I didn't run. I don't think I've run a couple of halves in between then. But I ended up running my first marathon in 2013. Which was a race that I actually trained for with a guy named Cullen Madden. He works with Millennium Running, and I ran. It was called then the Cox Road Marathon, COX, and this half marathon was really cool. I think it was in the springtime, and I believe it has new names now. I think it also got like bought out and taken over. But yeah, so basically that was my first marathon. Cullen helped train with me and then also ran the race with me. So it was really cool to like run this with someone who is like, like helped me through the journey and kind of like gave me tips throughout the race. I ran with Cullen pretty much the whole entire race. Our goal was to stay at 9-minute pace for pretty much the whole entire race. And I think it was the last 3 miles, Colin says to me, Sammy, we're not going to make it under 4 hours. Like, we're not going to make it, or it was under 4:30. I can't remember the time. But he said, we're not going to make the time at this pace pretty much. And he said, you either go now or we can stay together and we can run the rest of this.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows me, I'm like always the one that like literally just like, okay, bye, see you later. And I'm like, literally like, so I sprinted the last 3 miles, got to the end, got my goal time, which I was super excited about. And that was my first marathon experience. So yeah,
that is so awesome.
So bad at that.
So I'm very happy to hear that you went from running your first half and not liking it and not wanting to do anymore to only a few years later jumping into the marathon and actually enjoying yourself, getting it, like training well, having a good race day, getting the time you were wanting. And just from Eric's digging, I know how many halves and fulls you've run and even ultras. So you are out there crushing it still to this day.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't even mention it. 41 half marathons, 12 marathons, 2 50Ks. What happened like in between that half marathon and that marathon to get you back into it? Like, were you still running at the time, or were you just, out having a good time playing like pickup soccer or something?
Yeah, I was running cross country and playing. So in college, I was doing both. I was running cross country and playing soccer. My coaches for both hated the fact that I was doing that. Like, it was a constant battle for like, who are you going to the meets or you're coming to the soccer game?
So there was a lot of conflict. Okay.
A lot of conflict. Yeah. So, and at the time, actually, my sister and I were playing soccer together at NHTI.
Oh, wow.
And the position that we played together was striker. So we actually like used to score goals together, which was a lot of fun.
How fun is that?
Yeah. So, but yeah, in between there, I'd say in the fall season, it was cross country soccer, that balance. And then it was mostly kind of just running whenever it was just kind of like scattered running here and there. Like it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything like any training, I guess, that I had planned. It was just scattered races whenever, races came and some running in between. So nothing too
very
crazy.
Nice.
So what was after that then? You do the marathon. You sprinted the last 5K or so. You left your buddy in your dust.
I can't do that.
And you're like, okay, I got a marathon. I hit my A goal. What was next?
Yeah. So after that marathon, I'm trying to think of the second one. I love this race. This was actually my favorite race. And I recommended this one to everyone that asked until I just ran Boston, and now I say Boston is the best. But
I hear it.
Boston's the best.
I love Boston. It's so much fun.
And she's done Chicago, so she's a pro. She's an expert.
I just need to do Boston again to get the full experience. So someday.
Back to the more important matter, Sammy's second marathon.
Yeah. So second marathon, I ran the Hartford Marathon in Connecticut.
I have done that, and it was really awesome. So I agree with your sentiment there.
I love it. And that race was actually super rainy. The weather wasn't perfect, but the support was amazing. Like, I love
you do this.
It was, I had to take notes. 2014 was the year that I did it. Yep.
I did it in 2018, and I think it had very similar weather patterns. So I was wondering,
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, did we do the same one? But yeah, that's way farther down the line than your, because your first was in 2013, and then
Yep.
besides the point.
Yeah, so the race was awesome. The support was great, and this was my first one I ran by myself. I say by myself, but my parents ran the half and I ran the marathon. So
Okay.
with Hartford, at least then you would run with the half marathoners for a little bit, and then you would split.
Mm-hmm.
So and that was the race that got me so emotional about marathon running, because you stand there, there's a ton of people in the crowd, and there's a giant screen showing the elite runners. And it was like literally one of those things that it hit you in the heart, and it was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing all of this with so many people. It was amazing. Like, I literally was just like, oh my God, I'm with all of these people. We're all experiencing the same thing right now. And I was like literally like tearing up and getting emotional about it. So that was like that's why I say that race is the race that like everyone should do it. If you live in this area, for sure, you should definitely do Hartford. But yeah,
like 2 hours away. That's nothing.
It's not bad.
It's a short drive.
Yeah. Yeah. So really loved that race. And then after that, I trained one of our mathletes, Tom Johnson. He's a new add to the mathletes team.
Gotta get on that athlete program.
Yes. You guys are definitely invited. We've invited you already. So
you guys already have. Yeah, Jen was super nice, and I was like, if I didn't have something this weekend, I swear I'm gonna make it out with you guys. I may be dragging a little bit, but I will see.
Inviting us, because most people would stop inviting us after like the second no, and Jen just keeps inviting us, and I love it.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. Always invited. Everyone is always invited. So, but yeah, I think, so I ended up training Tom for his first marathon. We ran Manchester City.
Ooh, that one's a doozy. Are you ready, Eric? I know this is going to drop after your race, but are you ready?
Yes.
Sure.
I won't say anything, but yeah.
You won't what?
Well, I do have to say, Eric, when I ran it, the course was very different. The course has changed since I ran it in 2015, but Manchester in general, that it's sneaky how hilly it is.
This is a hilly city.
Eric loves the hills.
I've taken like this new approach to running this year. I'm like, just go for the hills. Hills pay the bills. How many times have I run up McIntyre? I did the Mount Washington race. I live on a hill. Even where in my hometown is a freaking hill. Like, just attack the hills and make them fun. Like, eat the hills for breakfast, baby. So I've done Manchester City. And so this is like my redemption. I want to do it again.
Yes.
And I've not had the best training for it. That's my own fault. But I'm excited for it. This is obviously going to be after the course. When I did it was in 2019. So it was still a wicked hard course and wicked hilly. Yeah. But when did you do Manchester?
I did it in 2015. So I think this was before Millennium took it over, because I think Millennium took it over in I don't even want to guess.
It might have been
right
20. Well, I think it was Millennium in 2016, because I ran it that year.
Okay.
Can't say I loved it because of the rail trail part. I was not having that, but
the rail trail part is actually hard.
Well, I was not doing any trails at all at that point. So it was like, it threw me off. I was just like, what is this? This is not fun anymore. But it was mile 18 or something of a marathon.
Yeah. And that trail's kind of hard too, because there's a lot of leaves. Like, they don't actually clean it up, so it's like slippery in some spots. And depending on how the weather is, probably even more slippery.
Just add to the challenge.
Yeah, right.
I love your mindset. Go with it.
Bring it on. Watch, I'll probably end up running like a 3:49 and shock the world.
Do it. I dare you.
Yes.
When this episode drops, we're going to do like a disclaimer at the end, be like, Eric actually ran a blank, blank, blank. Insert here. So respectable, man.
So Manchester City was your next marathon, and we all know that's a hilly marathon. Like, how'd that go?
It is. I thought the race went great. If you talk to Tom, I feel like he would say it was great. We talked the whole entire time. I was starting to gross him out a little bit towards the end, because I was getting so hungry. And I was talking about cheeseburgers and beer I think pizza towards the end. I was like, wouldn't it be great if we had like a cheeseburger handed to us and like we could eat this while we're running? And he's like, Sam, I'm going to throw up if you talk about burgers anymore. And I'm like, noted. Okay. All right. So we kept running, but I was so hungry at the end of that.
If you and I ever run together, talk about food all you want, because I'll talk about the grilled cheeses and like pounded soda, like
Yes.
whatever keeps you going.
Yes. That's why I want to get to ultra running, because they're all about like drinking Coke. And I'm like,
The snacks.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do it for the snacks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm learning new things about you, even though I've gotten to know you quite a bit this year. But you've been running for much longer than I thought. Like 2013 was your first half marathon. You
Mhm.
started doing marathons.
2010 was our first
2010.
half.
I
man.
pay attention. No, you don't. But yeah, this has been really, you've been involved in this running community for a long time. Running's been a part of your life, you said, since your dad was taking you to gymnastics practice. So
Yes.
what do you see in the community? What's some of your favorite things in the running community?
Yeah, I always love how positive everyone is, and so very helpful. I think that's one of the things that is so interesting about the dynamic of different people and different personalities. I think one of the things that's super common about the running community is everyone is always ready to help you, like shirt off your back, help you with any advice, any like hey, when are you planning this run, let's run together, like those types of things. I think are it's not something that is super common in other sports. Like this is something that people come together and they're always very passionate, very positive.
I agree.
So, right, you're one of those people.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
You are one of those people
100%.
Not everyone's asking Erika to go for a run, but not everyone's asking me. You're one of those people. You reach out and you're always inviting and always like, hey, what do you got to do for miles? How's training going? Do you need some motivation? Do you need someone to go out with? And that you are one of those people. You're one of those always high energy, positive community people. Love it.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I think it's all about building connection and networking. I think there's always, there's always people that are looking for some type of connection. And when you can find that through running, sometimes you can find other stuff through that connection of running. So I've met so many interesting people just being like, hey, want to go for a run? Like, can we just gab for like an hour or something like that just through running? And
you just get to chat.
Yeah.
Like let's go back to our first hill run this year. What did we do the whole time?
We talked the whole entire time
while breathing extremely heavy, like going up the hill.
Perfect, because it passes the time. It gets your mind off of how much it might suck at like in the moment.
Yeah.
And you also like there are no topics that are off the table when you're running. Like anything goes, and that's kind of more fun,
Yeah. I have to say, Eric talked a lot for our first one. I was learning a lot about Eric. It was great. I was like, I literally, like, I would just add in a couple of things to like keep him going on the conversation. But he was like literally cruising. He was breathing heavy, but he was cruising up this giant mountain. It was Pack, right? Did we run Pack together?
Pack was the first. Or did we do Knute? Oh, I forget. But yeah.
Oh, I don't remember which one was. Or yeah,
did you do Kearsarge at one point too, or was that on your list? Okay,
we did. God, it was so much fun because I wasn't by myself. Like this, I've mentioned a few times. This sport in the community is amazing, but sometimes it can be really lonely.
Yeah,
and it was just a blast to be going up that hill with someone, and she was so excited. I would let her sprint to the top. And she gets to the top one time and she turns around and yells, "This is so fun!" And I'm like, "Yes, it is. Yes, it is." It was a blast. I love, like, if I could, training for a marathon's hard right now because like I've said in the past, everyone's on different training plans and they don't line up and you have a different workout than the other person. So it can get lonely. It's so much more fun when you run with a group. That's how we started this, Erika, when we ran with the Breakfast Club group. And when we're running with friends in a community, like I would rather just do group runs all the time and just go out there and say I did 41 half marathons and 12 marathons like Sammy here and just have little goals. I don't need to be BQing
Yeah.
because I'm not BQing. We'll get to BQing soon, but that's what I love about the community. Tara Watt got me to do 6 a.m. runs every Wednesday throughout the entire summer. I kept going because of the people. That's
Yeah.
why I went. I would not get
Right.
up at 6 a.m. to run by myself.
No.
Sorry, not doing it.
It's
I'm
hard to do
sleeping.
that. The people, it's an extra motivating factor for sure.
Yeah.
And especially if you really enjoy that person's company, like it just
Yes.
makes it so much easier. Like you said, something to look forward to.
Yeah. I feel like it truly means a lot when you can just bond with someone through an experience. And I mean, even though I've done X amount of races, I still feel like I'm not an expert in this. Like, I feel like there's so much to learn from everyone that I'm running with that experiences things differently, and they could share
Definitely.
with me their own experience, so I can start rethinking how I'm running, rethinking how I'm experiencing something from their point of view. So
Oh, I
yeah,
love
I
that.
love
And you're
that.
totally right. Like everybody does have a different take on the sport and
Yeah,
it just all comes together and yeah. It's awesome.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Sammy, I tried to do some digging. I tried
Of course you did.
I tried to get some dirt. When we had your friend Jen
Zero
on,
dirt. There's got to be zero dirt. I see no dirt.
yeah, when we had your friend Jen on, I
Mhm.
asked you for dirt on Jen. And you're like, Jen has no dirt. There's nothing. Jen's amazing. And I'm like, well, I just need like the inside scoop. Give me some fun things. And you did something awesome. You're like, she's very into Reiki and she's a Reiki instructor.
Mhm.
I asked Jen the same question. And
Mhm.
she's like, nope, no dirt on Sammy, but I'll tell you this. She goes, you are one of the hardest working people she knows on your goals. And I think
Aw.
you have some really big goals. Tell us about some of the goals you have running. We can go anywhere here. We can
Yeah.
go, I'm thinking 6-star goals. You had the whole BQ goal. I want to hear about that because I want to hear that journey that you
Mhm.
took to get the BQ.
Mhm.
Tell us some of your running goals, the ones you've accomplished and the ones you have coming up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like my goals are always evolving. It's always evolving with where I'm at in my life, I feel like.
Mhm.
Right now, my biggest goals is to now run all of the international majors. Now that I've done all of the domestic ones, I'm ready to go internationally. So, Jen and her boyfriend Eddie and I did the group lottery for Berlin.
Ooh.
Which is that part's so interesting to me. So you sign up as a group, and then if one of you actually gets in, you all get in, which is really
Very
interesting.
cool.
Yeah. So hoping next year that we can get into Berlin and check off another marathon major. And I've been kind of toying with some of my goals around like running faster. So I've tried to hit some goals around running a 3:10. My fastest marathon's a 3:14, and I've been kind of playing
I'm
around
not
with.
worthy, Sammy. I'm not worthy.
You know what, I say this almost to everyone. I feel like everyone's a runner, but sometimes I don't feel like I'm a runner. Like, I feel like my passion has always been in strength training. So
Mhm.
for me, running seems like something I always have to work harder at. Like,
Oh.
there's something about there's some people that are like natural born runners and like literally can like run their paces and do really really well. But I think for some reason for me, like, I always have to work 10 times harder to get to that next segment. So I definitely feel like for me consistency is huge, otherwise I'll lose it fast type thing. So yeah, my goal this year was to get a 3:10 marathon. And actually, during Mount Washington training, I met Eric, but I also met Sam Jue.
Can you run it, Sam?
That's how
Can
I
you
know
run
him
it?
as. Uh-huh.
Also
Yes.
known as Jesus.
As Jesus. Yes.
That's right. Remember, he
Yes.
saved my life. He got me sunglasses when I left mine in the camper.
Yes. Yes.
That you stole for the next like 6 months.
I did. I totally did. And then I went to go. It's funny because I went to go give him back his glasses, and I'm like, "Here
Mhm.
you go." And he's like, "These aren't them." And I was like, "Shoot."
Whoops.
I was like, I think, and I'm
Whose
looking
were
at
they?
they're like a really nice pair of Gooders. I don't know where I got them from, but they're like too large for me, so I don't wear them. But they're a
Sammy's a
way.
sunglass stealer.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna say that right now. I'm sorry if I stole your sunglasses, but I think we agreed that they were a better pair than he had. So I was like, you can have these.
Took them anyway.
Sam, if you're
pair for a
listening,
pair.
you run it, Sam. I gave her those sunglasses back that day. And she goes, I'll see him in like 2 days. I'll give them to him.
No, nope. So sorry. I can't believe I did that.
So anyways,
apologize,
besides
Sam.
meeting me, you got to meet cooler, faster people, and Sam was one of them.
I met Sam, and it was great because so during training, I actually through Blake Tyler had connected with him because he had a group that was running on Knute. Met a lot of really, really fast runners, let's just say, in that group. They were super motivating and awesome, but Sam was one that actually, after that group, had been like, what's your goals? What are you doing? Let's run together. Like, let's like kind of like build a connection through running. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And when I told him my goal was to run 3:10 for my marathon this year, he was like, ooh, I want to help you do it. Let's get there. Let's do it.
Awesome.
So he actually helped me plan out my runs for all summer for basically building up to my marathon. And we connected through like my coaching app, and he was like building out all of my plans for me every single week. And it was awesome. It was really, really great. I ended up running a race a couple weeks before that I ended up getting injured at. So I couldn't hit my 3:10 goal, but
no.
totally fine. It was totally fine because I still had amazing experience at my marathon. It was fantastic.
Which marathon did you run?
I ran the Clarence Damar marathon in Keene.
Yes.
And that race is amazing. Honestly,
you got to run with KJ.
Yeah.
I ran with KJ. Yeah, that was awesome.
Can we break the news, Erika? Can we break the news live on the pod? Can this be it?
I think it's time. I'm going to be a relentless runner with KJ. She's going to be my coach for my winter season, and she's going to get me hopefully a decent time at the cheap marathon coming up in April.
Yeah.
So KJ is awesome. Shout out KJ.
All right, but enough about Erika. Back to Sammy.
Yes, please.
Clarence Damar.
Yes, and actually, the whole reason I ran that race was because of KJ.
I love it.
What? Yeah, I met her at the Revel race, the Revel White Mountains race. It was funny because we were waiting for other runners to come in, and she came up. She stood right up next to me, and she was like, "Hey, I follow you on Instagram. It's so nice to meet you in person." It was just funny, the connection. And then we were just talking a bunch about ultra running and races that we have signed up for. And I was like, I really want to sign up for a fall marathon, but I don't know which one to do yet. And she was like, you need to run Clarence Damar. That is an awesome fall
race
marathon.
every time we see her.
Well, she's a Keene native, so she knows it better than probably any of us.
Yeah. And you know what? For the New Hampshire marathons that I've done, and honestly, in comparison to other half marathons, I think this was the best New Hampshire race. It's the perfect time of year. It's like right when the leaves are changing, and it's a net downhill. So the race itself is pretty fast. It's a really, really scenic race, and it's a fast race. So yeah,
I ran it last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. I was just in it for the hell of it because I was like, I haven't done this one yet. So I think I did better than I expected. I don't remember exactly how I did, but it was just gorgeous. And the crowds were amazing. Yep. Like you said, it was super scenic. So I will go above and beyond and start recommending that to people as well.
Yeah. It was okay that there wasn't a ton of support. There was a lot of support at the beginning and right at the end.
Into downtown and stuff. It was better.
But it was like the scenic parts made up for the fact that there wasn't a ton of people in the middle. Other than that, the race was beautiful. Loved it.
I got to add it to my list, but one thing I'm really happy about finally happened is I finally got to meet KJ this year at the 20 miler. So I finally got to meet her. Spoken to her many times, had her on the pod multiple times. Finally got to meet KJ, and I've been pushing Erika to hire her for quite a while. So I'm happy you finally did.
I've been wanting to. I'm glad I'm finally going to go for it.
And she's another one with such great energy, Erika. I feel like she would be such an awesome coach. She's super knowledgeable and she's really inspiring. That whole time, I met with her I was actually following her from mile 2 to mile 10, I think. And I was like, I don't want to interrupt her like pace or her breathing or like thinking about it. So I just kind of was like trailing along with her. And there's so many different spots within Clarence Damar where you're meeting the half marathoners. And so many people know her. Like, she is the keen celebrity, and it's amazing. She's like cheering for everyone, and she's just literally crushing her miles, like literally like running 7:30s. And I'm like, I don't think I can keep up with this. Like, she's running insanely fast right now. And so I finally caught her at mile 10 because her friend, Kara, who was also a really amazing runner. She was Karen's support, KJ's support.
Okay.
And she was like, hey, it's Sammy. She's right behind you. And then he was like, ah. So I had to give it up at that point. I was like, sorry, I've been following you this whole time.
Just stalking you a little bit. It's okay.
So, but we ended up running a couple miles together, and she was like, we're going way too fast. We're going to be burning out by the end of this. And I was like, I don't know. This pace is awesome. And I've been just really kind of cruising along with you. So yeah, but she is just so inspiring. The whole time she was giving me great advice on the rest of the course and things like that. So
that's
runner.
awesome. I know what you mean about it being like easy to go fast in the beginning, because when I ran it last year, I don't know if you know Sheila Wilson, like she was just out there this past weekend running with me at the hamster wheel, and I was running with her for the first bunch of miles, and she was cruising and I was trying to hang on. And at like the half marathon point, it was like, Sheila, you go, I can't do it. She did like a PR that day. And I was like, bye, congratulations. Like way back behind her. So that course is deceptively fast.
Yeah.
But so pretty. And I'm glad you guys, both of you did so fantastic this year. Like that. It's absolutely incredible. Nice work.
Thanks.
You worked hard for it too.
I actually met Sheila at a Halloween party last year.
That's really cool.
And she was really talking me into running a 100-mile ultra. She was selling me on it. I think she ran Ghost Train. I think that's the one that she ran.
Ghost Train, yes.
Yeah. She was like, I literally was like so like enthralled with her story. Like I was literally like, oh my God. And you like were seeing things, and like you were like, oh my God. Like I was literally like, talk about mental toughness. Running 100 miles. I mean, Erika, that's got to be insane. I can't even know. Yep.
It's tough, but I want to say Ghost Train, that race for Sheila, I think she said that was her first ultra. And I was like, how are you people going for your first ultra and banging out 100 miles? That's like a different realm. So
yeah.
Ooh, amazing.
Not working up to it.
But Ghost Train is a beautiful race too. So if you ever feel like doing one of those, I'm happy to either pace or crew or run it along with you. I know you'll be fast, but if you want like somebody to slow you down, come talk to me.
Yeah. We'll slow you down, that's for sure.
we will slow you down.
Yes. We'll get back to running in a second, but you mentioned something about you didn't want to mess up KJ's breathing. And one of the other inside tips I got from Jen was how much you focus on breathing, not just with running, but with lifting and with meditation. Let's get a little, let's meditate here for a second. Let's talk about.
You're going to make me fall asleep if I actually meditate.
Just keep the energy. But let's talk about breathing. Like you really focus on breathing with running, with lifting. Tell me what you're doing here.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I got into breath work in like 2022. I got really focused on it. I had met a guy in the summertime, and he was a really, really amazing runner. He actually helped me build a lot of mantras for myself, but he also had this like amazing plot of land that had like a really like kind of scenic areas where you can kind of like just tuck away in the woods and meditate for like however long you want. And I practice a lot of like different like breath work exercises and being mindful of and awareness of your surroundings and being present with yourself, which I think is probably one of the most amazing experience I've ever had with my dog, with Nala. She is probably one of the best meditators. Animals in general are really good meditators. So one of the interesting parts about that was I would go really deep in the woods, find a spot that really like felt nice to me. Like this spot feels good. I feel like I want to sit in this. So I would find a spot, I would sit in it, and Nala would just be following me out into the woods. I'd sit down, I'd close my eyes and start my practice. And she would just be scanning the area. So she'll just be looping around me, really kind of making sure everything's good, everything's safe before she settles down.
Oh, good.
And she would do that regularly. I would do that probably 3 or 4 times a week. And she would come in, she would surround the area, and then she would just sit next to me. I actually have an Instagram video of her like sitting and like resting her head on my lap. And she basically would just chill and just like we would kind of like almost mimic each other's breath as we were meditating, which was kind of cool. Like I would really focus in on how she was breathing and just trying to mimic that and trying to control the breath in that way. And yeah, that experience like really got me into the importance of breath work and being present with yourself. So I kind of started to evolve that into my training. So I started moving meditation through actual marathon training at the time. So I was training for New York. And as I was training for running, I was thinking about what it means to be present in the run and also overcome the fear of hearing myself breathe. And I think that's one thing that people, probably the number one thing that people share with me is that I can't not listen to music because I don't want to hear myself breathing.
Guilty.
And,
Guilty
right?
100%.
Relatable thing ever, right? Like I
Right.
do not want to hear myself breathing. And and there's something to be said about, the fact that sometimes when we do hear ourselves breathe, we become very anxious about it. And becoming anxious then, accelerates our heartbeat, and then we start breathing really fast, and then we lose control. So I think through running and moving meditation and actually conquering how you feel about your breathing is something that to be mindful of as we're, continuing to run and continue this practice of running. So through moving meditation, I would practice different breathwork exercises so that I could control my breathing when I'm running up a hill, or when I'm like pushing really hard at the end through speed work and things like that. So there's a lot of different, like just trying to figure out what worked well through moving meditation that I was able to become more present with myself and listen to how breath work affects my performance. So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever like, does it work where if your breathing is like a little too heavy, do you like have to step back and be like, okay, it's heavy because I'm going up a hill, this is normal? Or am I running faster than the pace I was aiming for? I should slow down. Like, do you use those cues to get you back in the moment? And like, this is just such a cool thing. I've never really thought to do that, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah. And you know what, Erica, I think, it's definitely, it has to be in combination of being mindful of where you're at in your environment.
Yes.
So like you said, like when you're pushing up a hill or coming towards a hill, how do you control the breath before you get to that point? Or how do you be mindful of it once you get there? I think sometimes, and I think this is something that came to me very quickly because I couldn't run with headphones, right? You always think about safety and running and being like, I want to be really aware of my surroundings, but also how can I use that being aware of my surroundings to like help with my performance? And this was one of those things that you kind of do your own body scan.
Yes.
And then you also are really like present with where you're at and like listening to your surroundings and things like that. So
that's
absolutely.
So cool.
Yeah. So it's how I build meditation into a more, into a sport that you wouldn't necessarily think meditation is happening. So
that is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do that in running, and then I also do it in strength training. So I am a firm believer that if you really want to be a strong runner, you do have to, work in some strength exercises and mobility. And strength, I think, is what gets you the power to last throughout the race and really kind of helps your joint health and things like that. But I think a lot of people when they're lifting, they don't always think about the breath and how they use that to build power. So when you're going for a really big lift, or you're even doing smaller lifts, thinking about how you inhale and exhale will actually determine performance in your lifts. So those are the things I try to focus on in any activity that I do, to really kind of, hone in on that expertise there.
That's really smart too. So occasionally, I say occasionally because strength training is not my forte, which is one of the reasons why I want to work with KJ. She's going to get me on track. But say I'm taking like a Peloton class, like a core class with Emma Lovewell. She tells me when to breathe. Like, here's your crunch. You are breathing in or out. And I don't remember which is which, but she tells you the right way to do it to maximize your, like, the move and get the most out of it. And it is so important that somebody like me, who's just like trying to get the crunch done, like, I'm not going to do it right. And I'm not going to maximize my effort. So very, very informative and helpful.
I totally, I love Peloton because of that. I feel like they focus so much on breath work. And and that's why I really love their meditation, but I really love in their regular exercises, like in their bar classes and things like that, that they really, a lot of the coaches focus on the breath, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And it's so informative, and it really does help you make the most out of it.
Yep. Yeah. Because we definitely forget to breathe a lot of the time.
100%. Especially if I'm doing like my 10th push up and I'm like, crap, if I breathe, I'm going to fall down and whatever it is. So you are 100% correct.
One of the other things I always see you doing is you're on the dock, or you're in some room in your house, or you go somewhere in nature and you meditate. And we've talked quite a bit about meditating on one of our mountain runs, and I asked you questions about it. Like, what's the benefits you get from it? What got you to do it? Tell the listeners about meditating and what it does for you.
Yeah. I think for me, meditation is a good practice, especially with how anxious I am all day long. I think with work, with a really, really busy life, sometimes I just need a moment of silence and quiet. I am very much an introvert. I know that can be surprising to some, but I'm very much an introvert. I work all day talking to people, and a lot of the times at the end of the day, I need that time, that downtime of I need to decompress and reflect on everything that happened today. And I feel like meditation gives me that time to either in the morning, prep for my day and release all of the, the feelings or anxieties I might have going into the day. Or I do that at the end of the day, where it's letting go of those anxieties and being okay with letting go of those anxieties at the end of the day. So it's a lot of practicing mantras and affirmations and things like that. And I think that helps a lot in the activities I do, for sure.
I love that. I find that meditation helps. Sometimes at night when I'm trying to sleep, I just can't shut my brain off. There's always something going on, even getting a song stuck in my head. It's so obnoxious. I just can't let it go. And going back to Peloton, Anna Greenberg is one of my favorites. Yes. And just listening to her soothing voice, her just helping me relax. I'll fall asleep in 5 minutes. I don't know what it is, but it's just going through the body scan and being aware of my surroundings, but just the relaxation that comes from it, it's wonderful. So I love that's what you practice, and everybody should give it a shot. I mean, at least once, just try relaxing.
And I think people, they don't have to sit, you don't have to sit in that cross-legged style for meditation.
Oh, no. You can I will lay flat on the ground.
I lay down.
Is it Savasana? Is that the yoga term for it?
Yeah.
Love it.
Laying down at
my
the end.
favorite yoga.
Everyone falls asleep. Yeah.
It's great.
So this will come to a surprise, but if you meet many of my hockey friends who I referee with, a lot of them will tell you that I'm a very quiet guy and I don't talk a lot. Now, when I would referee college hockey games, I would have to get to the game 90 minutes early, and I got a lot of shit going on. And just to get out the door, sometimes there's a lot of crazy chaos, right? And I have so much anxiety, and I get really nervous for these games. Now, after the puck drops and you get one shift out there, I settle right in. But I'm there 90 minutes early, and I have to break that up by like stretching, doing, you know, the weird workout things you see we all do for running. The other thing I would always do is put the Bluetooth headphones on, I'd lie down, I would take Peloton meditation classes.
Yes.
And I say these referee friends of mine would say I'm a quiet guy because I need to get in like some headspace before refereeing a hockey game and before getting very angry at some people and probably yelling at them the back and forth, because that happens. It's part of it. I have to get focused and I have to get everything else to leave that chaos in my head. And I kind of forgot about that because I haven't done college hockey for 2 years, and we were running and talking about it. And you're like, you said, I have to take a moment to reflect on everything that happened, and you release it in a way. And that's what I would do. And I kind of forgot about that until you just mentioned it to me.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Look
I love
at you.
it.
You're already a
I probably need to do
pro.
more of it. I'm already a pro. I
Love
need
it.
to do more of it. But like, okay, we see you doing a lot of cool things, the strength training, the meditation. You're very focused, you're very driven, you're very goal oriented. One of the other goals we mentioned earlier was you're working on 6 stars. And I think Boston, your goal was to BQ. And I think there's a journey within that whole BQ story. You want to tell us the BQ story?
Oh, yes. There was definitely a journey. I ran, actually was using Vermont City Marathon in 2016 as my first BQ race. That was my first mistake, is using Vermont as my first race, because
Talk about hills, right?
Yeah.
That had that. I don't think it had the loop at that point, did it? Because I know now you have to do like two laps, but before I think it was just one big course. But there's a hill. There is a big hill in there.
Yeah, a really, like, it's in downtown somewhere, I think.
Is this Burlington, by the way?
Burlington.
So Burlington's on a hill. That's basically like a Manchester Marathon. I've been there.
Yeah. And this race is like at the very beginning of the summer of like it getting hot. It's usually like, I think it's Memorial Day weekend or the weekend after Memorial Day
Sounds
weekend.
about right, yeah.
But it's insanely hot. And this year I think it was like 80 degrees at 8 a.m. at race start. It was like, they actually started shutting down this race at the end because of the heat. It was that bad.
Wow.
But it was the longest marathon I had run at the time. So I ended up finishing, I think, with like 4 hours and 30 minutes or something like that. But this race, I was trying to use to qualify. I actually was set up with the pacer group, and I was like, I'm going to stay with the pacer group. It's going to be great. We started, the race started, and someone had dropped their water bottle in front of me, and I stepped on it, rolled my ankle.
No.
And like, literally, like, I swear the other runners of this race saved my life, because I was like running and we're in a crowd, everyone's running. And if you stop and fall down in front of all those people, you're getting stampeded, you know?
No.
So I stepped on the water bottle, and a couple people next to me saw it happen, and they like literally grabbed my arms and picked me up. Some of the runners had some choice words for some of the whoever ended up dropping the water bottle, but I ended up running the race, and my ankle was like kind of tweaked at the beginning, so I couldn't stay with the pace group, which I was super bummed about. So at that point I was like, I'm just gonna run this to finish it. It started getting really, really hot. And I didn't know at the time that like salt is really good for you when it's hot outside. So I was just drinking a ton of water. I didn't realize that I was like starting to like get really bloated. Like my fingers were like sausages. My face was all blown up. And the last 3 miles of the race, they were telling us everyone had to walk from here on out. If you were before that 3 mile mark, they were bussing you out, basically making you stop.
Wow. I've never seen that as a strategy, but I understand if it's like a huge medical concern. Wow, making you walk.
Yeah. So we would walk whenever the staff were around. We would run when they weren't around. Because we were like,
good.
At this time,
I probably would have done that too. So
yeah. So finished that race, and instantly had to go to the medical tent. Like, I didn't even know that I finished the race at that point. I was just kind of like walking forward. They asked me my name, and I was like, I need water or something. I don't know. Like I'm just like mumbling to them. And I get to the race. They actually just gave me some pretzels and I was fine and started to come back to my regular self. So after that race, I literally almost quit running. I was like, I'm done with running. I hate marathon running. I'm not doing this ever again. So there's actually a huge gap in my marathon journey between Vermont City and when I ran my next marathon. So that was 2016. I ran some halves in between there with my parents because my parents are big runners and
That's
very
so
much a part of the
cool.
running community. But they did a lot of traveling and I did a lot of half marathons with them at the time.
Nice.
But I didn't actually run my next marathon until 2020, until like right before COVID.
Oh wow! So you took like that's a pretty long hiatus.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you needed it, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you took it.
My the mental strength after that race was like very poor. Let's just say, like it was like I don't think I'm cut out for this type thing.
Yeah.
So I ended up running a virtual race after that. Fell in love with running again, and then my next race that I wanted to BQ in was New York, which is probably another race I shouldn't have picked for BQing.
You just love the incline. You must.
Just love it. Yeah, something about it.
Hills pay the bills, baby.
And so do bridges, and
yeah, right.
Oh,
and honestly, I think New York is one of the hardest majors. I'm going to say that right now.
I think you're right.
The bridges are so long and they're so tall. It's just, and there's not really any support on any of the bridges. So you're like running up it. You're just hearing like pitter patter of feet up and down. So it's like, you're really just running it for the experience at that point. But I ran it in 2022 and it was a race that was abnormally hot for November in New York.
That was that year. Oh goodness.
It was like
you just love getting the hot race.
What's up with that?
It just works out that way.
No, because once we get to talking about Boston was insanely hot too.
It's perfect spectating weather. Let's be honest, it's about the spectators.
It's great for the spectating, but oh my gosh, those poor runners.
So New York, I ended up missing BQ by 3 minutes. So I ran a 3:33. Which I wouldn't have been able to get into Boston, but still ran, close to that 3:30 time frame. And actually, I ran that race, and my mom and her friends after the race, they were like, "Hey, you've been training for a marathon. Why don't you just try to BQ with another race like next month? Like sign up for it. You'll be fine. Just run with it.
Icing on the cake.
Just do a couple like maintenance miles and just
there.
keep your fitness up. And
Tammy's right.
Yes.
Listen to Tammy.
Yes, listen to Pammy. Pammy Pro. He knows things. Her friends actually told me like all of the races that are super flat because they're all like super, super experienced runners across the US. And one of them was like either run Philly or run Kiowa Island in South Carolina. And I was like, ooh, that's an interesting one, South Carolina. So my mom was already running the half. And she was like, all right, you can stay with us if you just, pay to fly there. And I was like, okay, sweet. So end up signing up for Kiowa Island Marathon in December and ran my fastest marathon time. I was beyond emotional. It was a bike path race. So most of it was bike path and there was a little bit of beach at the end, but it actually was a super fast course. And this was my first time ever running with carbon plated shoes. Actually, that was an interesting. So I was like, I need the extra support there. Let's just say. So I ran in my Nike Vapor Flies, and
love the Vapor Flies.
Yes, it was. I honestly love those shoes. I've tried out a couple since then, but I think I'll always go back to Vapor Flies. I think I've
tried the Alphas and they're way too narrow. Like why?
Right?
But Vapor Flies are fantastic. Stick with them,
So ran that race, and I think I could have run a little bit faster if I didn't start crying the last 2 miles. Because
your breathing work didn't go so great from that point on?
That went out the window once I realized how fast I was coming in. Once I realized I was going to hit my goal by a lot. So for my age group for Boston, it's 3:30, and you need at least a 5-minute buffer, I think.
Yeah.
So I end up running a 3:14:14 coming
Amazing.
in.
Absolutely amazing.
Just completely bawling. I was running. I was running. I crossed the finish line. My mom and her friends were at the end. They were all bawling. We were crying together. We were like, I can't believe that just happened. Like in complete disbelief. Could barely walk after that. I was like limping. I had to go to the
so
medical
you
tent
left
because I was
it
like,
out there. It was all out.
Yes. Yeah, there's a part of Sammy that's in Kiwa Island.
Forever.
I left it there. I left it. So, but yeah, so that was the race. And I think I'd recommend that race to anyone trying to BQ because it is a fantastic course. It's a great time of year for South Carolina. It was like 50 degrees and it was a little bit cloudy. It was like a little bit misty, a little bit cloudy, and it wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, and it was a super flat course. So
Awesome.
Great race.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That is a huge buffer you gave yourself and like a huge PR from the last one that you ran. So, oh my gosh, that's so good.
Totally didn't think I had that in me. That was like one of those things that like I was pinching myself because I was like, I could not believe especially after running New York. And I was like, do I have enough mental strength to get me through this race? Because I was like, I don't think I can run any faster than I did from New York, you know? So yeah, it was definitely one of those races that was like, all right, I can push myself. I think my mind could, my body can run really fast, but my mind is what actually slows me down. So it was definitely one of those things that I had to say my mantras over and over and over again to push me.
Good call. Yeah, the mental game, it's just God, it's hit or miss. Like you could be in the best mood and then just anything could just drag you down. And as long as, like you said, those mantras, if you keep them in the back of your mind, like forward is a pace. That's one I like to say. I mean, Bex Gentry likes to say that too, but like just keep going. That's that is the way.
Yeah, absolutely. My mantra every time, and I think it helps just to have 3 of them and repeat it over and over again. So I'm like thinking about the order. But mine is, I am relaxed, I am in control, and I'm a badass. And I literally repeat that over and over and over again.
Yes.
And I try not to mix up the order. I just say it in the exact order. And then I completely forget what I'm doing. And I'm just thinking about that. So
that's awesome. Perfect mantra.
So that brings us to the 2024 Boston Marathon. Winter training. You and the mathletes were getting at it all winter long. How was that? Like, this is when I met you, actually. I met you on a run in February, and it was snowing.
Yes, it was snowing. Yeah, we that was right. Jen and I were doing a training run. And part of that training run was we also wanted to meet up for a charity run. I think it was Nicole's charity run. And
Justine.
Justine's training run. So, Erika, were you there? I can't remember.
No, I was out in California. I was really bummed that I had to miss it.
She avoided the snow.
Yeah,
I did. I did avoid the snow. Wasn't sad about that part, but I was sad to miss you guys.
So yeah, we actually almost missed you guys too, because we were doing an out and back, and we like timed it really wrong. Like we got back and we were like, oh shoot, we're not going to make it for the start time for that. We end up catching you guys like part of the way down. I can't remember what street that is in Concord, Main Street maybe. But we caught you guys as you were crossing at the light. And and that was so funny because I like didn't even recognize you at first, Eric, because I think you had your hat on and everything.
You couldn't see his beautiful bald head, right?
But
that was
great.
fun. That was that was, you did all this training during winter. Boston Marathon training, it can be brutal, right? It can be cold. It's dark early. It's dark late. It's snowing, it's ice, and you and Jen just like tackled this thing and destroyed it, and both had amazing days at Boston. Well, actually, I know Jen had a not so amazing day at Boston. She crushed it the next week in London. But like, you had an epic winter of training. It was so cool to watch.
Thank you. You know what? That was the first time ever that I've had a group of people that were super consistent and really were like so positive and passionate about running throughout the whole process. It kind of just like transpired. Like I met Jen through like a relay race in November beforehand, kind of right before I ran Philly. And we were like talking about how it's really funny because we didn't realize we grew up in the same town. I think she talked about this. Like she was like 4 years older than me in high school. And we found out that we grew up in the same town and she was a senior my freshman year and all of that. Right. I know it's all on her episode.
That's so cool though.
But yeah, so we met each other and we're like, hey, we connected through, hey, we're both training for Boston. And then we went for our first training run together and the Jennas were there. I hope you guys really need to join the Mathletes group because this group is just freaking awesome. But we met the Jennas. So it was Jen, Jenna, and Sammy. I had to change my name to Jammy because I needed the J name. So we met them and they were just truly amazingly positive people. Like we were talking the whole entire time. We were talking so much that we forgot to restart our watches at like places where we paused, and then we had to run extra miles because we have to make up those miles we missed, right? Like you can't just like those are just like ghost miles that like don't count for anything. Like you need to like I don't know what it is. That's like weird marathon math stuff. So
I get it. I totally get it.
So, but yeah, I would say the training was so epic because of the people. We made like a pact to run every Saturday, and then we really consistently ran every single Saturday leading up to Boston. And it was an amazing experience to do that with them. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you set us up, your training went great. Mm-hmm. How was race day?
Race day was
no details, Sammy.
Spare no
the drill.
Racing? Oh my God. Okay. And this is the race that I was training my whole life for. Like this was the goal, was to run Boston and to qualify for Boston. So I was going into this race, you know, knowing and telling myself that I was going to run it for the experience. I don't care about time.
So this was a victory lap for you. That's how you were going to take it.
This was the victory lap, Erika. Yes. And you know what? It was truly
to say. He likes to call it like it's you worked for it. You already did the work. Now enjoy the fruits of your labor.
I enjoyed every second of it. I enjoyed every moment of it. And you know what? It's so interesting because the race starts so late, and it's so late. And then you like you're that morning, like I'm like I feel like I need to be doing something. Like when do I actually eat breakfast? Like what's the
right?
Like what are those things that you've been training at like 8 or 9 o'clock, maybe earlier, 7 o'clock, and then all of a sudden you're like training or you're actually running the race at like 10 something or later. Mm-hmm. Like it's like I don't know. It's you have to think about training for Boston in that way where you're like, oh, Boston is actually a later race. So
it
might be worth getting some of your training runs in like midday just to like kind of.
It works for me because
yeah,
I'm definitely not an early morning runner. I'm either an evening runner or an 11 o'clock in the morning runner. Like I won't even wake up early on a weekend most of the time. So, but God, any other race is just hell for me. But yeah, it is an adjustment. That is one thing you have to think about. And a lot of people just don't.
Yep. Yeah. And it really is an adjustment. And when I started, the race was still the weather was still fairly cool. So it wasn't too hot at my start time. I think I started at 10 or 10:30. Mm-hmm. And I ran that race and there was no point in time where there wasn't crowd support. Like everybody was cheering the whole entire time. I got a great tip from a friend saying, wear your name on your shirt, like put it on your shirt front and back. And people were cheering my name the whole entire time, which was such an amazing experience to like feel like you had so many friends. Like I was literally just like, yes, that's me. Like I literally was just cheering with my a million friends. And like even people, I like found some people along the way, and it was just a lot of fun. I saw you guys at mile 19. I'm trying to think if I saw if there was any other. My parents were following me the whole entire way. So they were awesome. At like different points along the race. I saw my family at like mile 7, I think.
We
I'm trying
almost
to-
ruined your day. Do you remember that?
what?
We almost
Oh.
ruined your day. You came jetting from the right side of the road to the left side of the road to give us a
Yeah.
high five, and there's a
Yes.
video. You came within a half of inch of stepping in a pothole.
Oh yes,
Remember
that's
that?
right.
You kind of like made a little shift to just miss the pothole, and I'm like, oh my god, if she rolled her ankle right there, just to
Eric's
high
fault.
five
All
us,
Eric's
I was
fault.
gonna feel so bad.
Would have been on the runs. Oh
Would have
man,
never
yeah.
listened again.
I'm done with you guys. You broke my ankle.
I remember you
Yeah.
saw Yuki too. I can't remember who got
I
the
saw
video.
you.
But yeah, one of
Yeah.
you ran by Yuki, or she ran
Mhm.
by you, and you got video of that. Like you saw a lot of people.
I
I
love it.
did. Yeah, I saw Yuki. I was like videoing her as I was running by. I'd be like, "Hey, Yuki!" And then, so I saw her, waved to her. I saw some like coworkers along the way. Like, I felt like everyone was like so evenly spaced across that whole race. And actually, one of the things I really like about Heartbreak Hill, which I don't think there's a lot of things that people like about Heartbreak Hill, but there's one spot where you're actually like towards the end, and there's a sign that says that you're about to summit Heartbreak Hill or something like that. There's a
Summit.
summit Heartbreak Hill. And so you kind of know at that time, like, it's okay. Like, I can run up this last one, and then it's like mostly downhill, let's just say, from there.
I like how they do that at the very top, because
yeah.
basically Heartbreak Hill is the Everest of Boston. Like if you can
Yeah.
climb that, you can climb anything.
Yes. And I really, really enjoyed that race. Everything about it was amazing. Even though it was insanely hot, I felt like through my past races and learning how to run in the heat, even though I didn't train in the heat, like there were certain considerations I was taking as I was running. Like I was fueling a little bit more than I'm used to. I was actually taking a lot of the Morton's, Morton's gel, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helped more or less. I haven't actually looked into all of the ingredients for that, but it really, really helped when it did for
Okay.
me. So I was taking my fuel a little bit more. And I was running with electrolytes. So I actually was running with a water bottle in my hand, and had certain people to like swap it out in between. So I was actually
Excellent idea.
taking electrolytes often during that
Yes.
race. Yes, amazing race.
So
And
Ooh.
I did get a BQ in Boston.
No way.
I did.
And you did it while enjoying yourself and having a blast.
Victory
So
lap and a BQ in one.
Yes. I got a 6:10 buffer time of
Whoa.
a BQ. It was amazing.
Wait, was that enough?
It was not enough. The buffer was
Insane.
650.
And
So I
oh my
missed
God.
it by 40 seconds.
I
I was like-
cannot believe Boston is so finicky. Like
Yeah.
just the best of the worst. Like, come on.
Yeah. And I knew I knew a lot of people that missed it by like 10 seconds, 11 seconds. So there was like a lot of people that actually were a lot closer. But
Mhm.
I was like reflecting on what those 40 seconds meant to me. And I was like, 40 seconds meant that I could high five my friends at On the Runs. 40 seconds meant that I could like, really quickly give my friends and family a hug every single time I pass them, like, or take a quick picture with them. So those 40 seconds were moments in my life that I'll never forget. So
Oh, Sammy,
yeah.
I love that.
yes, so totally fine with missing my BQ.
Sammy, I have no doubt you are going back to Boston. You are going back to Boston. One of these days, you're going to just do another race. It'll be a perfect day for you. You're going to leave another piece of yourself out there on the course, and Boston will be there when you're ready, anytime.
And when you don't, just hang out with us at mile 19.
Yes.
Also that. We love the company.
If there's a
It's so much
spot
fun
for
to
me,
cheer to.
if there's a spot for me at mile 19, I will be there.
There's room.
Of
There's plenty of
course.
spots. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a party.
I'll even like put your name on it. I'll bring like a sticker or a Sharpie or something. I'll be like, this is Sammy's spot.
It's for
That's my
Sammy
spot.
that no one will ever sit in, but it will be like your movie star, seat with the name on the back.
My reserved spot. I
That's
love
right.
it.
Nobody's
Yeah.
So what was the end like? Like that last mile stretch when you're going down Boylston Street?
It's amazing. I mean, the crowd is amazing. Everyone is so loud. And like it's, I don't know, like I really can't even put into words the feeling that you feel as soon as you turn on to Boylston. It's like, it like gets the energy, just like gets in you, which is the weirdest thing. You like literally just like, and I wanted to like record things. I wanted to like show everyone my experience and what was happening, but I just couldn't. I was like literally just like, this is happening right now. So ran that last portion. I think I did record something, but I don't even know what it was. And I literally just, I crossed the finish line, and yeah, I ended up getting to the end, and someone like took a picture of me, and I like handed my phone to them. I was like, I don't know what can you take a picture? Like words were not even coming out. And like, they're like, yeah. And they're like, can you take a picture of me? And I was like, yeah. And so like that whole thing happened. But one of the really funny things about any race that I finish is my parents are the ones that come with me to these really, really big races to cheer me on. And they always park so far away at the end. They park so far away.
You
And
realize what I just did?
yeah, right. It's so funny. We have this running joke. After every race, Pammy Pro and Stevie Pro always make me walk like 2 to 3 miles back to the car.
Oh, that's a lot.
Every time. And they're like, well, we couldn't find a parking spot close. Okay, great. But they're like, also, let's go find lunch nearby. And we're like, okay. And so we like are walking to the place to go get lunch. And then we're walking to a place to, to go find a car. I'm like, all right, I guess this is my cool down. But yeah,
they get a little time to rest in between, like going from race to car and whatever. So
yes.
Hey,
congratulations on that.
Yeah, absolutely. What a cool victory lap. BQ victory lap. That's something not many people get to say they did, a BQ victory lap. And that 40 seconds, you can never get those other moments back. Not even just the high five with the On the Runs crew, all the other ones you had. Yeah, I love that positive mindset you have. That's awesome. Great job. But one thing Erika said was, if you can run up Heartbreak Hill, you can run up any hill. And a few months later, we ran up Mount Washington. And I want to hear about your experience, because some time has passed. You were way faster than me. But I do think at one point you're like, I'm never doing this again. And that always leads to a great story. Tell me about the whole Mount Washington race that you had. It was a beautiful day at the bottom. Remember, we're taking pictures, we're smiling. You met Maurice. We're having a great time. The sun's out. And then we run up the hill and it got cold.
Yes. Oh my God. I was not prepared for that race. I was not as prepared as I thought I would be for that race. But yes, beginning of the race was awesome. We met with the crew that I did a little bit of training with. So it was like Blake and Sam, and Brian, and that whole group, they were awesome. Like really, really they're very fast runners, but they're really motivational people. Like they're really, really great people. And as a whole, some of them had run the race, so they were kind of prepping, us beforehand or me beforehand. But we did a little oh my gosh, a warm-up run. Remember that, Eric? We did a little bit of a warm-up run.
Yeah, that was like a sprint for me. Actually, no, that's a lie. I ran with your friend Sam, as also known as Jesus, and that was cool. And you took an amazing video of me with the scenery. That was like, no one ever gets video content to me. So I was so excited. That was great.
The view was awesome, and sometimes I really like to pick out the moment of like, ooh, look at this scenery, and like, look at these two people like really like connecting in this moment. And I felt like you and Sam were like really having like a bonding moment there. Like, I was, ooh, I need to like capture this moment. So I was like, it was so cool. And I was like, okay, I had to like make sure I like had the angle of the mountain, and like you guys were like chatting away.
Perfect.
It was great. So, but we did our warm up run.
Too. That doesn't happen.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. It was a beautiful moment. You guys were bonding. So we did a little bit of our warm-up run, and we came back. I can't remember if this was the point where you got the sunglasses or not, but you were definitely like super bummed about missing, like not getting your sunglasses. And I know it's in the previous episode, but leading up to that race, I met Maurice. He was awesome. He has the most amazing infectious energy it's like there's something about him that you just want to like literally, run 18 marathons in one day. Like there's something about it that you're just like, I can do this. Yes, absolutely, I can do this. So
I have
he's
so
just
much
really
love
cool.
for Panda. It's not
Yeah.
even funny. He is the man.
He
like,
really
hands
is.
down.
Everything he says is inspiring, and it like
Oh, yeah.
really, I don't know, everything he says is really relatable too, like in a way that it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, okay, I think I can use these words to really like project me into, whatever my goals are in this moment. So
Mhm.
yeah, really, really great connection and really great person that you connected me with, Eric. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so beginning of the race, it was definitely warm. I was wearing, I think, like shorts, and then I had like sleeves, my on cloud sleeves, and I was like, okay, I think this is enough for the top of the race or top of the mountain. It was definitely not.
Oh no. Oh
But
no.
I was not prepared for even like we did a lot of mountain running, but this was like next level. Like I truly think the beginning of this was harder than the end. Which Eric, did you mention this? I was like, I swear the first mile or two was like the
I
hardest.
remember that dude was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Right? And I go,
Yep.
dude, I have gone up this auto road a dozen times. That
Yeah.
first like mile is brutal. And then it doesn't flatten out like flat, but it kind of gets a little easier until the last
Yeah.
tiny bit. And
Yeah.
this guy's like, you're wrong. You're wrong. And I'm like,
Mhm.
Sammy, just trust me on this.
It was hard.
And Sammy after the race goes, you were right.
Yeah.
So
seriously.
why was it so hard? Was it a matter of like, was it really steep there,
The
or
very
is it just
beginning
because
is so
it's your
steep.
Oh,
And
okay, because
it was
like I'm
shocking.
sure it's your first mile too,
Right.
and you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm fresh, let's go,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh god,
Right.
Yeah. It was definitely like a mental killer because it was like super steep and you felt like you were energized and ready to go. And it was literally like, nope, you're not. Like, slow down right now. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that first mile was literally like, I think I'm going to walk this whole entire race. I'm going to walk 7 miles.
Like I think miles 2, 3, and 4 for me were faster than the first mile.
Yeah.
okay,
I believe
all right.
that. I think that was for me too. But yeah, it was so scenic, so beautiful. The people I ran with were very motivational and very happy to be there. I don't think you had the same experience, Eric, but
They're
and some
quiet. We had
portions.
one rude person with like
Yeah, that's right.
wicked
That's
loud
what it was.
music, and
Mhm.
I didn't care, but others around me got really pissed
I
off,
remember
and
that.
Oh yeah, that's
they're
what it
very
was.
vocal about it. I just ran
Oh,
faster
wow.
by them.
That's what it
That's
was.
too funny.
Yeah,
Oh.
and the Sasquatch was awesome. I love seeing the Sasquatch. It was like, and how he must have climbed all the way up to that point. That was pretty far. I don't know what mile he was at, but he had to have climbed the mountain in that Sasquatch uniform. Got all the way up, or costume, I should say. He got up there and he's like ringing the cowbell and he's like jumping up and down. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I like
Em,
literally just wanted to hang with him.
I don't know if you know this, but that wasn't anyone in a costume. That was a real Sasquatch.
It's a real car.
He lives there.
Oh my god. What do you mean?
Oh man.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had a connection and drove up and just put it on, or he hiked up with it in a backpack and then threw it on. But that would be the case if it was a real person in there.
Yeah, right. Would have been.
That's too funny.
That was great. That part of the race was so fun. I was grabbing videos as often as I could. People thought I was so crazy because everyone thinks that I run with a selfie stick. Like if you watch any of my videos on my stories, like I always have my phone flipped.
This is talent. This is a talent of yours that I've yet to master.
Well, I learned about this, I think it was from one of the marathon athletes, Jenna, she's like a marketing expert. And she was talking about taking photos and recording yourself on 0.5 zoom. So, which is on an iPhone. I think I'm assuming that droids have it too. But
I think droids do 0.6. I feel like 0.6 is what that one goes to. But I heard about that trick, doing it instead of selfie mode, like flipping it around. I learned it from Wyatt because, of course, he does that shit all the time himself. You guys are onto something. I still haven't done it.
Well,
Gotta
it like
switch up my ways.
it gets like all of you and like all of your scenery, which I love.
So
The only
smart.
thing is you can't see yourself, so you have to flip your phone around to get that magnification, and so so like the whole time, and everyone's always asking me if I have a selfie stick, and I said no, I just put on the 0.5 and then I flip my phone around and then just run with it.
Yeah.
But the whole entire time I was running up the mountain, like any really, really awesome viewpoint, I would flip my phone around and like start recording myself. And I think it was mile 4 when you actually get up and over the trees. I think it's mile 4.
See that? Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't remember. It was back in June, so time flies. But basically, you get to the point where you're over the trees and you're climbing, and the wind is just coming from all directions, insanely cold. And like literally, I was like, I did not have enough layers. I was freezing. Like my ears were really, really cold. My face was cold. Like everything was super, super cold. I get up to the top. And they did this weird thing with Mount Washington where like the very last, I don't know, 0.2 or something is like running up a little path up to the finish. And it's like really, really steep little path. And then I get to the top and I'm so, so cold. I can't even they put the blanket around me and I'm like shivering. I like not even thinking straight. I walk into the main building and I grab a hot dog and soup. And like
what a combo.
Like literally just have to eat anything because that's my thing. Like I have to have food always. But basically I grabbed a hot dog and some soup and then I walked out and I had like I couldn't get a hold of Eric at all or anyone, or Erin was there too, which Erin is amazing. She, by the way, shout out to Erin for running New York and doing amazing. So yes,
We love
she
Erin.
is really amazing. But yeah, so I wasn't able to connect with anybody, and then randomly saw Eric walking down, and it was truly a blessing in that moment because I was like, I literally was like, I might need to go to the medical tent because I don't feel well. Like I truly do not feel well. I couldn't tell if I was gonna throw up or if I was gonna just faint or something, but I was feeling like very lightheaded. And then Eric saw me like walking up the stairs and he was like, Sammy. And then he's like, I could tell he was like going to go up and probably like find people or something. And I
was do my medal picture.
Yes.
I was going to do it all.
I felt so bad, Eric. I owe you a post-race fun connection thing. Like I'll party with you next time. Let's just say, I'll be much smarter about bringing the right things. But yeah, it was truly a blessing that you were there because I was struggling hard. You gave me your blanket, and then we walked to the car and like literally just sat in the car with Adeline and Aaron. I think Mike showed up at some point too, and we just warmed up in the car and played some fun little games while we waited for everyone to finish the race. So, yeah.
Well, as much as I wanted to go to the top and summit, which I've been to many times, so it was no big deal. And as much as I wanted to take the pictures and hang out with Maurice and hang out with you and Blake and see people and kind of do all the things, I was concerned I actually went back to the car, saw Adeline, did all those things, right? And I'm like, I'm going to go find people and find you, thinking you'd be in the building, thinking you just crushed it. It was so foggy up there. So when I finally saw you, it's like you came out of the fog and I was like, oh, hey. And you instantly, I knew you were not in a good state. And it was like, okay, shit, we got to get her either to the car or back to the building, warm her up. You could barely move. Like you were moving. You weren't, when I say move, not walking, but just like move. Right. And
once you get the chills, it's hard to shake that. That is no joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was, I was worried for a bit, and that's why I hung out in the car. And then when I finally was like, okay, I think you're good, I'm going to go out and see people. It was like, nope, the race is ending. We're going to leave soon. And I didn't want to screw up our spot we had in the parking lot because we were the first car that was going to get out of there.
Smart.
Yeah.
And you were fine. You were fine. Once we got back, once you got warm, you were good to go. You were just cold. Yep. You were cold and you did go. I will never do this race again.
Yeah, but I did say that.
After the Mount Washington recap, I got a message from you saying, I can't wait to do it again with all of you.
Pain is temporary, glory is forever. Mount Washington medals are forever. Do you get a
You
medal
know
for
what?
that, or is it just a blanket?
Oh,
You do.
did we get a medal?
You got a? Did you get a medal? No, you got a
think we
T-shirt.
did.
I thought the
Yeah.
blanket was a nice touch. The blanket was cool.
I needed that.
We did
for
get a
sure.
medal. We did get a medal.
Okay.
Confirmed. Yeah.
I've said I think Mount Washington does the same kind of lottery that Berlin does, where if one person gets in, like the whole group does. I said if you guys do like a group entry, I'll do it next year because I have like no desire to do it. But if I'm with a bunch of friends, I'd be like, all right, fine. I'm easily convinced.
Honestly, Erica, the training was the best part. Like literally just trying to plan runs around like running up mountains was way more fun to me than the race. But the race was
Well,
fun.
it was warmer, right?
We would
Yeah.
summit and then we would like check out the views and stuff. And
We
we would even go
would.
to the top of the fire towers and everything. Then we'd run down and then
Yes.
we'd do it again.
Yeah.
Those
Yes.
repeats, man. They pay the bills. Hills
They
pay the
do.
bills.
They do.
So
And
good.
Jen is a really, really good runner because she trains on mountains all the time because she lives in Manchester.
Yeah.
But I did a race with her afterwards. I know she was still recovering a little bit from London, but like I went for a training run with her and like I was like pushing past her up hills and I was like, this is so weird because I don't do this. Usually I'm trying to catch up to her on a lot of these training runs. So that was the first time after training for Mount Washington that I was actually able to beat Jen on some of the hills. But
Yeah.
as soon as she started
Nice.
training, that was all over.
Sammy, we could talk for hours. We absolutely could. And we're going to have you back with Pammy Pro one day. And it will
Yes.
probably be one
yeah.
day later
Awesome.
this year. But we have a
Yes.
couple final big questions we always ask. So because it's still 2024, I'm going to give you a chance to give us a great Code Brown commandment. And then I have another new question for the year 2025 I'm going to ask you. But first, you know what the Code Brown commandments are. Do you have any running advice you could give us that someone could use to avoid any oh crap moments? Thou shall what, Sammy?
Okay, so I'm sure, I don't know if you remember this, but I had a Code Brown moment this past year with the mathletes where first of all, it got really hot and I took my shirt off and I tucked it into the back of my pants and I had to go number 2 super, super bad, needed a porta potty ASAP. Found a porta potty. It was a random one at Hampton Beach, jumped in it, forgot that I had my shirt tucked into my pants and lost my favorite Nike running shirt.
No.
It is now owned by the porta potty and will live there forever. It is I'm so upset about it. But
I'm so
anyways,
sorry.
I would say the advice is don't forget about the shirt that is tucked into the back of your shorts. Always check to see if anything is in your back pockets or if anything's tucked into your shorts or pants before you take them off to go to the bathroom.
I think a general one here would be thou shalt check their surroundings before popping a squat in a porta john.
Exactly.
Wicked smart.
Check everything.
We've
You don't
learned
want
that
your
a couple
phone to
times.
fall
Not
out
just
because,
with
oh
you, but with
God, I do
me.
not want to reach in there.
That is my fear, to have my phone fall in the porta potty.
Oh.
Like,
But losing your favorite shirt, that still
Yeah.
sucks. Nobody
it's
wants
okay.
that.
But she has a new one. Did you see what she did to her on the run shirt?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
I beated it up.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
All right,
I have
Sammy.
no talent like that, so I'm going to leave it to you.
Okay. I'll make
All
you
right,
guys.
Sammy, here's the new question for 2025. So On the Runs is going to have this huge pasta dinner, okay? And all our guests from 2025 are coming this year. And they all get to bring a +1. You can bring anyone you run and train with. You can bring a running legend like a hero of yours, alive or dead, an Olympian. Who are you going to bring as your +1 to our big On the Runs pasta dinner?
I would really, really like to bring Nala. Can I bring Nala?
You can bring
Can I
Nala.
bring my dog?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Everyone loves Nala. I think everyone loves Nala more than me. I literally bring her and everyone remembers all of the things about Nala. So if I could bring her, and she's my running buddy for life.
I love
So
it.
yes, I would love to bring Nala.
She
I was
can
also
absolutely
very-
come to the party.
I was also very disappointed when I ran with Sammy for the first time and she didn't bring Nala. I was like, "Where's Nala?"
You did get to meet Nala later on. So
I did.
Yeah.
I've yet to try.
I'll get my
though.
chance soon. I'll
I
get
have
it.
yet
Yes.
to try. I have yet to
Yeah.
try the thing you put around your hips where you run
Mhm.
with her and she like pulls you. I've yet to try that, but
You need to use that on your kids, Eric.
I do. I really do.
Hands-free leash.
That's a great. So you're the very first person we've asked that question. Wow, what an answer! I love it, Nala.
I love
So
it
my whole
too.
I
goal
would
is to
bring
like
Nala.
do a painting. We have this at the old Lucky Dog bar I used to work at. There's a painting of all the regulars. They're all like cartoon characters, and I would love to
Yeah.
like have someone do this painting of all the guests from this year with all their plus ones. So it's gonna be you and Nala.
And Nala. Yes. It has to be. It's amazing.
cool.
Love it. Great answer. Great answer. But all right,
All right.
on to Erica's question.
Okay.
All right, Sammy, it's time for my question. And I am putting my foot down. I am not changing my question from year to year because I love my playlist and I think
So
it's
she's
fun. Our playlist.
boring.
Yeah, call me boring if you want. But
Mm.
I would like to invite you to add a song to it. So what would you choose for a song for our playlist?
My favorite hype song is Unstoppable by Sia. I love that song.
That is perfect. How do you not get pumped up for that
That's
song?
one where it's like, I'm unstoppable.
Yes.
Something, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
He
Exactly.
nailed it, didn't he?
Eric. Exactly.
Freaking nailed it. Keep going. Keep going. That's the
It's a great
perfect song to kick off our 2025 On the Runs playlist. I'll say
Ooh.
that.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to just do a new one every year. We'll see. But thank you, Sammy. That's so fantastic.
Yeah, this was awesome. Sammy, real quick, what's next? What's going to happen in 2025? What are we doing?
I'm really hoping for Berlin. So we'll see about
Fingers
Berlin
crossed
in
for
the
you.
lottery. Yes.
When do you find out?
I think it's the end of the year, but I'm not
Well,
sure.
we might know by now.
Ooh, okay.
Somewhere.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, and then the mathletes and I signed up for a charity group for New York. So and actually, Eric, are you part of it? I don't know if we signed you up.
I have committed verbally to you guys at the NH 10 miler. My sister's running. I want to make this happen. You did ask me for my email, so I think I'm on the list.
Yes. Yeah, you should be hearing.
That's going to
by,
be
like,
my first of my 9-star medal.
Freaking 9 stars now. Okay.
I know.
Excellent,
right?
Eric. Off to a great start.
Yes.
We'll see.
So Berlin and New York for me.
That's awesome. Well, I'm super
Excellent.
excited for you. I'm super pumped. Thanks for running with me all year. Thanks for running up those hills. Let's do more. And let's get Erica on a run with us too.
Yes.
Thanks for
Yes,
inviting me to
Erica.
these things. I swear I can go now that my ultra seasons are not started up yet. So-
Yeah, no
So-
pressure at all. Just join
Awesome.
whenever you can. And we
I love you
literally,
guys.
a
You're
lot
so
of our
nice.
runs are like double loops. So, we can always,
Perfect.
so we can always run and meet up at the end at the same place. So.
I
Awesome.
love it.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to have you back. We're with Pammy Pro. We're going to do it in person, like I said, with cameras. We're working on building this whole On the Runs and Monday Night Media team and community. It's going to be wicked fun. I can't wait. I promise you we'd do that. We're going to get it done later this year. You're a rock star. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for the patience, by the way. I know we've known each other for a while, and I've been like, you'll come on soon. We'll do it soon. I promise. This is a lot of fun. I love when we run and we like spit ideas out at each other. We're like, let's do this or let's do that. Or, maybe that whole meditation thing for you one day. So this is super cool. You're an awesome person. Thanks for doing this. Erica, any final words for Sammy?
I just want to say it's been a blast getting to know you better. You are an amazing runner and you're going places, and just know that you have us on your side rooting for you the whole way. So keep it up. You're awesome.
And she's a coach. We didn't even talk about
my
that.
God.
There's so much to talk about. You guys should
much.
call Sammy and hire her to coach you to strength train, run, breathe, meditate,
Yes.
do it all. Join the
All the fun
mathletes.
stuff.
These are some great people, super positive energy. They're the ones who they see no bad in it. Well, they're the ones who always find the good in everybody. And I love that about you and Jen and your whole mathletes
Absolutely.
crew. So thank you so much, guys. I really hope you enjoyed that. Sammi Sooliya on the On the Runs podcast. That was awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Oh, Sammy, you sweetheart. We love you so much. We're so happy that you could finally come on the podcast. Well, actually, the second time because she joined us in the parking lot after the 10 miler.
That's
So
right.
it's nice to have you back for your very own episode. And I'm so happy I got to know you a little bit better.
And we'll have her back next year in 2025
Mm-hmm.
with hopefully Pammy Pro. We've been talking about it.
That's right.
We've actually, so we don't really typically interview with multiple people at the same time, but we just did the other week before you got
And
sick.
it was so much fun.
It was a blast. There were a married couple. They're amazing. We're doing it actually tomorrow. We're recording with 2 more people. And that might become a thing, like maybe a theme, like couples or running partners or something together. Maybe we come up with a theme. The other thing that's coming up next year, we'll get to Erika's big announcement soon, but people have started reaching out to us saying, hey, we want you to donate to our Boston Marathon fundraising. And it's like, geez, oh my God, we get asked a lot.
We
And
have
we
so
love
many
that.
friends, and oh my God, we're gonna go poor.
We're
We're
already
gonna
broke.
just basically. So
We're
just
gonna
know we want to.
Yeah, we're going to change it up a little bit next year. Boston Weeks is still happening, and we want to highlight people running in the Boston Marathon and people with Boston Marathon history. But the original foundation of that was we wanted to help Sarah raise money and find ways to fundraise and brainstorm. And we had her on years ago to do exactly that. And we don't want to get away from that. So we're going to do some special episodes next year where if you are a local New England runner, or even not local, like you could be in Pennsylvania or Ohio or Nevada of all places, right? If you are fundraising for the Boston Marathon to run and you have a big goal to hit and you have a charity that's near and dear to your heart or whatever, if you're fundraising, we want you to come on it for 15 minutes, and we're going to do a couple episodes where we just go around the clock there of 10 minutes, 15 minutes with you. Tell us why you're running, who you're running for, what you're raising money for. This is where you can find my fundraising, or I'm doing an event on this day. We're going to do something like that, the end of March to kick off Boston Weeks, or maybe the Thursdays of all our Boston Weeks episodes. And so we just want to get you guys on and help support because, God, I'm going to cheerleading nationals next week, or I'm not going, but I'm paying for it. And then we got globals and skiing and everything else. And everyone's it's
Christmas
so cool.
is coming.
Right.
Oh boy.
And everyone's donate and share. And I'm like, what can we do to help them? And that's what I want to do. So it being the last episode of the year, I wanted to tell you guys this now. So if you think of something, come to us and we'll get you on the books for sometime in February or March, and we'll do all the little segments. We'll piece it together. It'll be maybe we'll even do 2 full episodes, 4 people an episode. It'll be
Perfect
great.
idea.
Yeah, I think it'll be
Love
great.
it.
I feel like we're kind of contributing and helping, and maybe that will actually help get more money than me sending you $20, because $20 is all I got.
I know, right?
That's
we have so many friends now who are just out there. So we appreciate what you're doing, but it's spread us pretty thin.
Well, we'll do something fun though, like what we did last year, where we'll have a challenge, a bet, and if I win, you have to donate $100, and I pick the charity, or vice versa. That's what we did last year.
I
and
did
of
like
course-
that. That was a good bet.
Yeah, that would be fun. And then you made me distribute it 25, 25, 25, 25. We'll figure it out. We'll probably each donate $100 somewhere. We don't know where, but we'll come up with a challenge or something, or maybe
I like that.
Maybe the winner of March
Madness.
March Madness. Thank you. We have
There we go.
March Madness plans too. It's going to be another epic year. So, but enough about that, Erika. Speaking of fundraising for races, you have a major announcement.
I do. All right, you guys, you're hearing this first. Besides my family and on the runs, I am going to be running the 2025 Chicago Marathon. And this time I actually am running for a charity that is pretty near and dear to my heart. So it's a little bit difficult to talk about, and a lot of people don't know this about me, but I have lost my brother a few years back. So I am going to be raising money for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So this is a huge thing that means a lot to me. And I know there's a lot of people out there who have been struggling with mental health and just need some support, family, friends. And yeah, so this is something it is near and dear to my heart, and it's tough to talk about, but It's important, very important.
Well, we've never talked about it, actually.
I know. Like I told you, and a lot of you guys didn't know. And it's just, this happened back in 2009, and it is a big part of me, but I know it happened a long time ago, so it's not something you bring up in normal conversation, you know.
It absolutely isn't. In fact, I've known you since 2004,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know about your brother until like 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a topic we actually talked about when we started doing the podcast. Like, what are things that are on the table and off the table? And we're like, we just won't go there. We won't touch that.
Yeah.
And it was pretty big when you mentioned this in the group chat. One, Tara and Lindsay didn't know about your brother either, so like
Yeah.
not many knew. But it's really, I think, awesome that you're running for a cause that's near and
Yes.
dear to your heart. That almost makes me want to donate more. Versus, sorry, eye and ear. I'm like, I'm just donating
I know,
to you
right?
to run. So I think that's so great that you found a fundraising charity opportunity here, and you got a story with it. There's a reason behind why you're running and why
Mhm.
you're fundraising.
It's
So
gonna be nice to be able to run for my brother, in his memory. And the more I looked at it, I had my name in for the lottery, and I was looking at charities as like I don't know, I guess you can call it a backup plan. And the more I thought about it, the more I was just like, no, I have to do this. This is something so worthwhile and meaningful that I just said I'm going for it. And I reached out, and luckily they had a spot for me. So it is
I'm
very
happy.
important, and I'm glad I get to do something like this in his memory.
Can we talk about him for a second? Because I know nothing
Mhm.
about him.
Yeah.
What's your brother's name?
His name is Nicholas Hamill. So
Was he?
he was 2 years younger than me, and just things happened. I don't want to delve too deep into it,
No, I
but
just want to know like who he was, his personality, his sports. What you guys do growing up? Was it because I only knew you
yeah.
had a sister? Like me and my brother grew up playing hockey, of course, and
Mhm.
a lot of things. Like you were 2 years apart, so you're probably pretty close.
We were. Yeah, we used to, oh man, we used to get together with all the neighborhood kids. We would play like street hockey. He was big into hockey. He loved skateboarding. He had his BMX bike. He would always be down doing tricks and stuff. I remember once he actually broke his collarbone because he was doing some tricks off of like half pipes, and he fell wrong, and yeah, broken collarbone there. And so yeah, he was an adventurous kid. He was a lot of fun. So we did get to spend some time. Like he came and visited up at Plymouth a couple of times, and he was just a bunch of fun.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're going to get to run in his honor.
Hmm.
Uh, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank
You know
you.
that, of course. But
Yes.
we never really talk about it. Nobody knows. I'm sure everyone listening is like kind of in a shock. Like Erika has had a brother. Like they
It's
probably
hard. It's hard. I mean, how do you go about bringing this up? So
right.
yeah,
Right.
it happened, and we're trying to live life without him. And I mean, he's always there. He's still there, but loss is never easy.
You're doing an awesome thing.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Spreading awareness, fundraising for a great cause. And
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. Are you finally going to be like Chicago? What do you call it when you run Chicago so many times? Like a lock for every year?
That will get me my legacy status, yes.
Legacy.
So, I mean, Chicago is one of my favorite places to run. It's so amazing. So I know there's a few of the pod fam who will be out there next year. So hoping to get a chance to meet up with some of the people we've gotten to talk to but haven't met in person.
Well, actually, we planned on dropping this episode because our guest who was supposed to be this episode is
Yes.
running Chicago with you. We'll talk about that more next
I don't
year.
know if I want to ruin it. That's his thing.
Yeah, don't ruin it. But I have an announcement.
Do you? What do you got?
I think I'm a lock for the Jingle Bell Half.
Oh, I'm so excited. Excellent.
You know who else I think is going to run it with us, actually?
Who?
Our guest we just had, Sammy.
Oh, excellent. More
Yeah.
the merrier. And especially Mary, because it's going to be Christmas time and we get to wear ugly sweaters and Christmas stuff. So you got to make sure you dress appropriately.
And around that time, we might have someone on the podcast whose name is Mary, like Merry Christmas. We're working on it. There's going to be
Love
some
it.
fun things in December, hopefully all 777 related. Yeah, but we'll save that for December. I know
Yeah.
the last episode we talked when Tara was on, the 777 wasn't over. It did end. We're going to get some people on. We've already talked to a bunch of them, not on the podcast, but the hope is to get like Ben on, who was doing the stream, and Justin back, and Bex with an X, Mary, maybe the other Bex, maybe Ashley, maybe a
I
few
hope
others.
so. It would be
Bill.
so fun to hear about how it really went down. We only got to see so much during those live streams, but I mean, yeah, behind the scenes, I want to know about recovery and food and what did you do for fun? Did you have any time to have fun? There's so many questions we get to ask. So hopefully we can make this work.
What else is going on in your life, Eham? Anything new, exciting before we talk about like the freaking Boston Bruins up and down, firing their coach and then winning games, or Dale Jr.'s back in the Bud 8, or some sad news about the Rock and Roller Coaster? But what's going on in your life?
Besides the fact that right now I'm like coughing every 5 seconds, but for the first time since we ran the Manchester City relay, you ran the full, I ran today. This is the first time in 2 full weeks that I have run. I managed I managed to keep the streak alive, but when I tell you I was moving slow, I was doing like 23-minute miles. Like I was walking real slow around my neighborhood, but streak is alive. But today I actually ran. Jay Duncan reached out to me a few weeks ago. I think it was in the middle of me being sick, but I had higher hopes that I would get better sooner. And she convinced me to sign up for Novemberfest, which is a 4-mile trail race around Mine Falls. And that was today, being Sunday. And I show up and I'm just like, this is gonna be real iffy. I don't know if I can fully breathe yet, but good news, I did, and I actually ran it, and it wasn't fast or anything, but I didn't die.
Good job not dying.
I know, right? I'm like, here now. Okay, I'm tired, just breathing, just talking. So
who would have thought Erika signing up for trail races like a couple of years ago never would have happened? Never.
Oh man. Times are changing. Well,
cool.
I don't know if you can really call Mine Falls a trail race. It's just not paved. There was nothing really that was going to trip me up. But you ran Mine Falls.
Well, I did something. Did we talk about in the Tros? I edited another podcast.
You teased it a little bit, but you didn't give us any details. So go on.
In a couple weeks, when episode 5 of Pace Yourself, It's Just Cancer drops, that's my edit.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm helping Erin out. Erin was the scheduling wise, it was always around her chemo, and she's like, I can't do it this week.
Happy belated birthday, Erin.
Right. But then she was also asking me a ton of that's right, happy birthday, Erin. But then she was asking me a bunch of editing questions because I do a lot of ours in Riverside, and she's like, well, I got chemo, I'm not going to get it done. I'm like, just send it to me. Let me do it this weekend. Just send it to me. And because she jokingly said, do you want to take it over? Does Monday Night Media want to do it? And I couldn't tell if she was serious. I'm like, let me do one. Just let me do one and then we'll talk. Let's see. And it was kind of like, let me do an audit of your podcast, an audit of the structure, a few things. I've listened to the other ones, but let me like hear the recordings and maybe I can help her out a little bit. And so I did that.
It's always nice to get somebody else to hear it and give you some constructive criticism and feedback and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be emailing her right now, like what I thought, but instead I'm talking to you.
Thank you for squeezing me in because I'm going to have a very busy Monday.
Yeah. This was a great year, though. Like I've said a couple times, it's our last real episode of the year. I think we're going to be back, but not for your standard episode with the Tros. There'll be no Tros, okay? I don't know if we record with the 777 runners in the next couple weeks, if we're going to drop those in December or January. It's obviously not going to drop on the week of Christmas. You're traveling. I'm crazy busy doing the dad thing with Boys Week. Boys Week! So it's December. We try to take it off, but we still work. But we try to like not pressure ourselves to the Tros. So we'll be around all month. You'll hear some best ofs. You'll hear some classics. I might go a little heavy on the classics because when we did an Instagram poll for it last July, everyone picked classics over best ofs, and I'm like, okay, that makes my job easier. But I really love to go back and listen and make a best of episode. So December is going to be busy, but you're not going to have the normal podcast. We probably have one in-person Christmas special, That's going to be fun. It maybe like recap the whole year. And there might be a solo State of the Pod episode. I'm not going to make Erika come out for a State of the Pod. I don't want.
can come out for that. I'll do whatever you want.
We might
You say when.
maybe I'll do it in January though, and like a bonus episode. Like last year I gave all the stats. The stats aren't much different this year. The hockey stick continues to climb. The percentages, well, actually, they're much better than last year. But
we like to see it.
It's a steady climb. It's a steady climb. We had some big episodes this year we'll talk about on the recap. Erika will do her show notes and mention what she wants to talk about and her memories of the year. She will go into our Google Doc and make show notes. Confirm
I can do that. I can do that. Mm-hmm.
We got video confirmation. Give you a hard time. Hopefully by the next time we're back to normal, the Bruins will have figured their shit out. Patrick Lieber was giving me like laughing in my face. He goes, the Blue Jackets haven't beaten the Boston Bruins in Boston in like 9 years. We came into your barn and we crushed you so bad that we fired our coach the next day. Patrick was giving it to me. He was giving it to me. But,
well, I did see that a couple of the Bruins, or former Bruins, I suppose, just did a race with Dave McGillivray, right?
That was so cool. They set Dave McGillivray, Zdeno Chara, Patrice Bergeron, Man Rocket,
and Becca Peasy.
Becca Peasy. 4 legends in one photo.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. If I don't know if Becca's a listener, but Becca, if you are, I will be reaching out to you for Boston Weeks. That is on my list.
Oh, we'd love to have you. She's done some cool shit.
Yes,
she just raced in Antarctica, didn't she? Like, apart from the 777, but she just did.
Well, she's done it before. I think she was the race director for it. So much to talk about with her. Awesome. We were offered her we were kind of like told like, hey, she'll totally come on. I'm like, yes, awesome. I'm gonna make her wait like 8 months and come on for Boston Weeks. It's crazy though how far out I'm planning Boston Weeks already. I already got like the guest penciled in.
It's basically like you're a race director and you're planning way ahead of time.
I got our January episodes already like dropped dates. I just switched Sammy and our other guest who you guys missed this week. So Sammy got today's drop. But yeah, it's we got some big ones. We got another. I'll give you a clue for our first episode of the year, guys. I'll give you a clue because our core listeners are the ones who stick around and listen this late. Last year, our first episode of the year started with someone from across the pond. This year, it's happening again. We have a guest from across the pond, big time guest, huge social media presence, huge ultra runner. We've talked about her before in this podcast. Mm-hmm. There may have been some YouTube documentaries about her. She may run on a treadmill.
And I'm still fangirling a little bit.
So I'm wicked excited. That one took a little bit of work. Again, I enjoy doing the work like I had to do for Catherine or for Bex last year. It was fun. Yeah. I'm dragging this out, Erika. I'm dragging this out. What should people do in the meantime in the month of December? Should they follow us? Should they leave us a review? Join up, Erika.
Absolutely should. You guys need to go check out our YouTube channels, like and subscribe. You need to join. Well, I say you need to, but you should join our Patreon if you love us so very much. We have a couple different levels you can join, be a friend or a lover of the pod. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Threads. Threads is one too. Mm-hmm. What else we got?
Tell me what happened on Threads.
Oh, I found you out. So I don't have Threads myself, but sometimes they pop up in Instagram and I see one from On the Runs. I forget what it said, but Eric was calling me out without calling me out, but not
talking you.
Yeah, and I was like, and I sent him a screenshot, and he's like, ha 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 ha. So I saw it.
It was about the camper and how no one was using it, and then you go, people were using it. I told you, and I go, that thread was from like 5 days ago before you told me.
Yep. Oh, but yeah. So I was like, oh, I totally saw that, but occasionally they pop up on Instagram, but.
Yeah.
So just make sure you're following us on all the platforms, and we've got some awesome content coming for you.
And
guys.
Share. The best way this podcast is going to grow in this brand and Monday Night Media is share, tell others, repost things that we have out there that you see. We're going to do, we got to come up with a question. We're going to do the weekly question in 2025, but we should do another question. Do you have one in mind?
I honestly was trying to see if you guys are the type of people who are going to run turkey trots or not. Are we in a whole class of our own, or are you guys just sitting watching football, drinking the beers early?
That's it. That's the question. Good thinking right there on the spot, Erika. Guys, are you going to run in a turkey trot this Thanksgiving? We're going to drop it on Wednesday. I think we decided it's going to be the Wednesday question of the week or something like Wisdom Wednesday.
Wisdom. Tara had it down.
Weigh in Wednesday.
We'll have to
I
see.
think it was Weigh in Wednesday.
There we go.
We'll think of it. If you guys can think of a better name than Wisdom Wednesday or Weigh in Wednesday, let us know. And it will be a Wednesday at like noon. Question up every week in 2025. We need some questions. And so, yeah, share the pod, do all the good things. We're dragging this episode out. So I think we got to cut this short, Erika. Let's end this thing.
You got it.
Thank you for another great year. We will be back.
It has been.
But until then, guys, enjoy the turkey, enjoy the stuffing, take your belt and just loosen it up a couple knots. Throw a little, eat. Be thankful, be nice, be kind. Anything else, Erika?
I think you nailed it, man. I hope everybody has a really happy holiday season. Thank you for listening. As always, we love you.
Thank you for a great year, and don't fear the code brown.
And don't forget to stretch.
2, 1.
Well, I have no doubt that, hold on, I have to think about the double negatives, but I have no doubt that you will make it back. Does that sound right? Hold on. Can I want to say it you're going to go back, but how do I say that with I have no doubt.
I have no
Did
doubt
I say it
that
right?
you're going to get it, that you're going to do it again, that you're
Okay,
going to.
I just want to make sure I don't fuck this up. So
Don't fuck
Sammy,
it up.